Happy Friday and welcome to the AM show on Joy News, your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Of course, my name is Sweetie Abochi and I do this with Benjamin Akakbo. This morning, what do we have in store for you for this Friday edition? First, we'll start by serving you the AM news, the latest updates on everything happening in and around the country. After that, we'll sit with our guest for the news review segment. And today we'll be joined by lawyer Enoch Afuakwa and Kwame Nkrumah Botsio, both gentlemen joining us to review the newspapers and the stories captured in there. After that, Muftan Abel Abdullahi will serve you AM Sport. But today is a Friday, and so it is Prime Take. And of course, we'll bring you Benjamin Akakbo's blunt thoughts because it's a Friday, and I'm eager to learn what he has to share with us today. Now, for our big stories this morning, the Ministry of Education has launched a full-scale investigation into that allegation of supply of expired food items to senior high school students. We'll be speaking to the ministry to help us understand what really happened and how we can fix it. Also, we'll bring you Constituency Lens today. Carlos Caloni is on that beat, and he'll be taking us to Ayawaso Central Constituency. And we will understand what will influence voter choices come December 7th. And then after that, we'll bring you AM Business. We couldn't serve you that yesterday. James Eshen is on that beat, and he tells us how fake Kente products have infiltrated our markets. You want to stay with us on the AM show from now to 10 a.m. when we serve you breakfast. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Let's get right into the AM news now. Many thanks for your time, folks, on the AM show. This is the AM news. Let's get into the details. Now, Ministry of Education says it has launched full investigations into allegations of supply of expired food items to some senior high schools in the country, following an expose by Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Member of Parliament for North Tongu and Chairman of Government Assurance Committee. Here is a social media post by the PRO of the Ministry of Education, Kwasi Kwarteng, and according to the post, he says the Ministry of Education's attention has been drawn to allegations made by Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa regarding the supply of expired food items to some senior high schools. We would like to first express our appreciation to Honorable Ablakwa for bringing this matter to our attention. As such feedback, it's valuable in our ongoing efforts to ensure quality education. We take these allegations seriously and, as a matter of urgency, have commenced a full investigation. The ministry has also engaged the National Food Buffer Stock Company and the Ghana Commodity Exchange and the entities responsible for the supply and distribution of food to senior high schools. Together, we have launched a thorough investigation into the issues raised by Honorable Ablakwa. We assure students, parents, guardians, and the public of our commitment to protecting the health and safety of every student under our care. Rest assured, we will pursue this matter to the end and provide updates to the public as our investigation progresses. And we will bring you more details later on the AM show as we delve into these matters. In other stories, more than 15 structures at Circle Odawna have been razed to the ground by a fire outbreak that started in the early hours yesterday. Residents there, most of whom live in makeshift wooden structures, told Joy News that the blaze destroyed all their belongings, leaving them with nothing to salvage. They're calling for urgent help while still counting their losses. Kente was there and reports.
People have complained that they've lost items worth thousands of Ghana cedis.
I don't have access to enter inside the room to go and rescue anything. So, like this, and I'm stranded. I don't have anywhere to stay or to do it. Even ordinary clothes, if I couldn't save. The only thing that left my hand is 2 CDs that I have at my hand. Nothing else. This is the only thing that that left with me.
So how much do you have there?
Man, 65 million. 65 million.
That's 6,500.
Yeah, Ben. The bank fell right now. Right now, I don't get anything. If my girlfriend close, they come out.
Oh, actually, we don't have place to go, so that's why we are still here. But time coming, we'll get some place to vacate ourselves.
We are citizens. I'm not a foreigner, as a citizen.
and we are in voting time too. At least our things are damaged. Government should come in our help so that we will not go and do something whereby it will affect us later.
From the Odawna, right in the center of Accra, my name is Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Let's get into our election headquarters. And the Electoral Commission has begun the 6-day process of transferring parliamentary ballot papers from printing facilities across the country to designated holding centers. The operation kicked off in Accra on Thursday, November 14th, with a movement of ballots from the North Industrial Area to the Greater Accra Regional Police Command. My colleague, Mikel Antonio, monitored processes in the Greater Accra region and has come through with this report.
The Electoral Commission has begun the transfer of ballots from the various printing houses to the respective police headquarters of every region. Here in the Greater Accra region, the political parties are supervising the process. The process starts with first breaking the seal. They will then inspect the contents of the bags, looking at every serial number that is on every paper. Again, when they are satisfied, they will reseal this.
My name is Leslie Nicolenim. I'm the Secretary to the Greater Accra Regional Elections Directorate.
From your end, the NDC, what really are you looking out for?
Oh, we want to monitor the election from cradle to grave. We want to make sure that every part of the election process is monitored and it's in compliance with the provisions of the law.
So far, so good?
So far, so good, at least. We have our eyes fixed on the ball.
I'm Emmanuel Clote. I represent the New Patriotic Party. So first of all, it's not chaotic. Or better still, maybe let me rather say an organized chaos.
What do you make of the process so far? Satisfied?
Oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay, everybody's on ground. You realize that for every constituency, there are representatives from the constituencies from both parties and also the Electoral Commission to check and be sure that the content of the bag is indeed what their agents have recorded and passed on to them.
Here at the Ghana Police Service headquarters in the Greater Accra region, only 3 seals will end up on the bags that have been checked and verified and agreed by all the political parties. The seals come from the Electoral Commission, another one from the MPP, and then the NDC. Only 3 seals. In the other regions, the EC says, according to their schedule, on Friday, 15th November 2024, the same exercise will happen in Central Region, Western Region, Savannah, and Upper West, exactly at 12 noon. On the 6th of December, these boxes will be retrieved and again checked. For Joy News, Mikel Antonio.
Now, come 7 December, every action at all polling stations in the country can be monitored by the National Media Commission right in their offices. The NMC on Thursday launched a monitoring app called Ghana Media Watch for this purpose. Executive Secretary of the NMC, George Sapong, says the application is crucial for the safety of journalists. And he further explained how it will help monitor and report real-time incidents during the election. Here's more.
The Media Commission believe that the launch of the Ghana Media app adds another layer to our collective efforts. It is a cutting-edge monitoring technology for combating disinformation, tracking media performance, securing safety of journalists, and promoting transparency in election coverage. It is a complete system comprising of a web app, mobile app, and content management system. It enables the general public to capture and submit video, audio, and pictures stamped with date, time, and GPS location of incidents to represent the authentic content of the media or actual reality.
The stories. Chairman of the WA Local Council of Churches, Reverend Dr. Alfred Petia, is urging the President Akufo-Addo and his vice, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and leadership of other political parties in the country to work to ensure there is peace in the country before, during, and after the December general elections. He noted that considering the violence that erupted in some countries as a result of elections, Ghana cannot go the same way, urging them to think about their families and communities and spare the country from going that path. Reverend Alfred Bata made these statements at the first prayer fest in Wa. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The Maiden Prayer Fest 2024 was organized by the Wa Local Council of Churches under the theme United in Prayer, United in Purpose. It seeks to bring Christians from all denominations to lift up their voices in prayer for peace, unity and divine guidance, with a key focus on next month's general elections. Chairman of the World Local Council of Churches, Reverend Dr. Alfred Pieter, recounted incidents of electoral violence in some countries which resulted in civil unrest with scores of people dead and others injured.
If you ever witness violence, you will want to pray for peace and you will want to talk about peace. I have been watching Sudan, the destruction in Sudan. I watched Somalia, the way Somalia is destroyed. I watched Ethiopia, the Tigray region, the way people were killed. I watched Central African Republic when the violence erupted there, the way people were killed. Recently, Mozambique, election dispute, a number of people were killed. You come around our own backyard, Côte d'Ivoire, we know what went on. That is why we Christians, we believe that praying unto the Lord, the God of peace, the election will come to pass and will have peace in Ghana.
Dr. Alfred Pieter noted that what Ghana needs before, during, and after the December polls is peace, urging President Akufo-Addo, his vice, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and leaders of other political parties to work to ensure that there is peace in the country.
So this is your country. This is your motherland. This is where you enjoy peace. This is where you are working, nobody's checking you. So therefore, I urge every Ghanaians, including our president, our vice president, the political leaders, I'm urging them, they should think about their families, think about their community members, think about their region, and think about the country Ghana. Else, tomorrow, we have nowhere to run to. We can't go to Côte d'Ivoire. We cannot speak French. We can't go to Burkina. We can't speak French. We can't go to Togo. We cannot speak French. The only place we can go is Nigeria, but it's too far for us to go.
Speaker of Parliament, Albanson Manaki Sport Babuin, who was a guest speaker, was represented by Member of Parliament for Afayato South, Angela Oforiwa.
We recognize that the path to peace and credible election is not only or is not solely dependent on human efforts. That is the speaker. He says, for credible election and peaceful election, it is not by our human efforts, but based on the divine intervention of our God. So today, as we gather here to pray for the nation that is united already and peaceful, the speaker says that today, the prayer over here in Wa is for peace for the country and credible election.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
As the people of God lift their voices and cry to the Lord, we are saying that may the heavens respond and touch their heart, so that even if they have breathed any evil word that will bring chaos in this country, may God turn it to be a word of peace.
But still in elections, former President John Dramani Mahama has once again criticized President Akufo-Addo for a statue erected in his honor. The NDC presidential candidate says if he had focused on self-promotion like the president, statues of him would have been seen everywhere across the country because he contributed massively to the infrastructure development of Ghana. Speaking during his tour of the Western North region, he also called out the president for neglecting unfinished projects around the monument. Here's more in this report.
And it's a statue. Normal Kwasi statue.
All they know is building statues when you have not left office. It is your good works that should speak for you and earn you praise, not status you unveil yourself. Is that how it is done? If that's the case, I might as well place my statue at every project I have completed. At Temahabo, Kotoka Airport Terminal 3, and the University of Ghana Medical Center, Kwame Nkrumah and Kaswa interchanges, and KJT markets. My statues should be all over the place.
The Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition is demanding more political commitment in the fight against corruption. Under the broad campaign called Pledge Against Corruption, the consortium of CSOs working to fight corruption say they would pressurize political parties to ensure their manifestos deal with the issues of corruption. Listen to Executive Director for the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, Meriada, and Franklin Kujo, who is the founding president of Imani Africa, lay out the concerns of the anti-corruption CSOs at the forum.
We see that it's a big challenge. Citizens who are daring to report corruption have an issue because at the end of the day, they don't have enough evidence to support. So we need the law that supports this. So that if I say, for instance, beauty is corrupt, beauty, the public officer has done something that needs to be investigated, we should not wait for her to give us all the evidence to support.
We analyzed over 1,000 procurements contracts that we've seen so far. Only 5% could pass muster per the laws that we have put together. If in the very year we're going to the IMF, for the year we got to go to the IMF, there was a time when 85% of all procurement issues did not go through the Give Me system, the system we ourselves have created. There's nothing really happening. The only real people fighting corruption, grand corruption, are civil society actors and investigative journalists.
So on corruption, the Party Pledge Against Corruption Forum also pointed out some unique constraints inhibiting the fight against corruption.
I pledge today on my hand that I shall never ever be corrupt in my lifetime as president, as father, as young man, and as any person in Ghana. And I want to pledge to you, all of you.
Politics is not a profession. Politics is for service. If you know you can't serve your people, don't get into politics.
We have made our commitments in our manifesto. We shall continue to leverage digitalization to increase transparency. Don't underestimate the taking away of the human face in doing government business or in doing business generally.
If you vote us into power, we'll make sure that corruption becomes an issue of the past.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is citing ineffective laws as the reason for which anti-corruption agencies are unable to deal with corrupt practices. Samuel Apiadako is the director of the Strategy, Research and Communication Division.
That we have so many laws, but we don't have efficient laws. For me, from the Office of the Special Prosecutor and as a lawyer, I'm happy we have not passed the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, although I'm in the anti-corruption business, because as it stands now, if we pass it, it will become another white elephant. So the law as it stands now is piecemeal. Even when you talk about gifts, there is no ceiling. But we know in the UK and other places, an MP cannot take, say, a gift beyond £300. In Ghana's Conduct of Public Officers Bill, there is no ceiling. One of the problems why I think, please don't crucify me on this, the perception of corruption is also extremely high in Ghana is that we call every offense corruption.
On that note, let's get into our business update with Benjamin Akapo.
Welcome to Business. In our first story, in an effort to enhance securities trading, the Central Securities Depository plans to leverage technology to drive financial inclusion. This was disclosed by the depository's chief executive, Joseph Oko-Lati. Now, speaking at the 20th anniversary launch and unveiling of the CSD's new logo, Mr. Lati explained that the move, which was expected to commence by the first half of 2025, would improve information flow on the trade of securities.
A depository is basically a bank. It's a bank for securities. You should look at it that way. Your account is credited when you buy, your account is debited when you sell. Now, when you go to a bank today, all banks have mobile, they have internet banking. Why not the depository? So we are bringing on board the investor portal. It empowers the investor so that investor sees everything that happens on their securities account. What we are also doing is, because we are bringing the investor portal, we are democratizing the space. So if somebody is in Tumu, they don't have to come to Accra or Kumasi or any regional capital to open a securities account. We want to make it easy for them. Look at what banks have done with fintechs and mobile money. Now, the mobile money space teaches us that technology and this device, the mobile phone, is such a powerful tool. That's where we want to drive the market to. So we can grow the market, grow the cake, so that all Ghanaians enjoy in it.
In our next story, the Actuarial Society of Ghana says the tremendous change in regulations surrounding the conduct of financial service businesses in Ghana requires the urgent look at regulatory issues and adaptation of emerging technologies. Well, President of the Actuarial Society of Ghana, Neil Tego, said, has called for a relook at a recapitalization and governance. He spoke to Joy Business at the Actuaries Connect Conference 2024.
The world is moving fast with innovations, with other tools that could be used to enhance our jobs, like generative AI. And that's a tool that we have to look at how best it can help the profession grow. So we're looking at a few regulatory issues, and then professionalism, and then innovation. We are trying to talk around it and engage ourselves and think ahead in order to be able to sustain the profession in the next few decades that has to come. So that is why we set up this conference. And it's going to help all of us to know how to maneuver through this current advance in technology, advance in insurance, tech, and all that. So that's why we're holding this conference.
Well, thank you very much, and that's how we cap off our business updates. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
And it's a wrap for the AM News right here on the AM Show. You want to stay with us because News Review comes up right next. We are live on Joy News for the News Review segment on the AM Show. Welcome, folks. It's always a pleasure. Benjamin and I get to do this. Today is Friday, and he's looking really good in his orange plus blue African print jacket. It's the first
Okay, yeah, I was thinking it was
like
brown.
This, so it looks really good on you, Ben.
I have a few of these. I haven't used them in a while. Today, the spirit possessed me, and I decided to don one of them.
Good choice.
Thank you.
I see you're matching it with your brown. Is that a caveman watch? That's what you do to me, so I have
I can't believe you're doing this. I also love
Yeah.
Kwame Nkrumah Botio's Batakari. I've been fawning over it.
Thank you.
And we should.
Batakari?
I guess they are used interchangeably. Is it that the shorter ones are called what?
Honestly,
I
call all
because I see people interchange them, but I think there may be a difference. I think. I don't know. Those who are better enlightened, please educate us, shoot us a message, and let's know what it is. But salute to the people of Drapa.
Thank you.
Yeah, this looks beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Let's get into your thoughts. You know, like how we do it. We have 2 minutes to walk us through your trilogy.
Before we do, though, can we talk about the cashback promo?
Yes, let me start by telling you that this year's CompuGhana cashback has been named as Prime Cashback Season, and it's packed with incredible deals and exciting surprises. Now, this Prime Cashback, CompuGhana, is bringing you exclusive discounts, prime savings, and awesome surprises when you shop products from any of their branches nationwide. You can find products from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Media, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, Itel, Huawei, and many more. Visit any of CompuGhana branches nationwide and enjoy exclusive discounts on all products. CompuGhana has a wide range of IT-related products, mobile phones, electronic products such as laptops, printers, desktops. Did I mention mobile phones already? Tablets, television, fridges, home theaters, air conditioners, gas cookers, and many more. What's more amazing is this year's Prime Cashback with CompuGhana has got great prizes with instant gifts and cash prizes for your shopping experience. So when you shop at CompuGhana this season, be on the lookout for the surprise team. Answer a question correctly and win instant cash and gift. You deserve this opportunity too. So rush to CompuGhana now. And the promo runs from now till December. So visit CompuGhana.com or simply call 0302 752 020 for more information.
Let me also quickly tell you about Medicas Hospital. Your health is your wealth, they say. And Medicas is a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind, and they have also assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine led by Dr. Ayawaso, the drive time doctor, to serve you. Now, they're offering general medical services such as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. In addition to boot, they offer a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopies, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And they also have a 24-hour pharmacy, ensuring you will always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. You don't want to get just any medicine. And in addition to all of this, you would say that is all, but no, they are bringing to you the most powerful medicine of all. You know what? Simple human kindness and empathy. They pride themselves, they hold themselves to the highest attainable standards. And they accept all forms of payment as well. So don't worry, if you have private health insurance, you can also go to them and you'll be taken care of. Locate Medicas Hospital at number 10 Kinso Street near Ashalebuche School Junction, and you can call them on 0501 477 340, 0501 477 340. On social media, Medicas GH, Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. Kwame Nkrumah Botio is with us this morning for the news review, and I have seen him with his CPP, is it notebook?
Yes.
Little notebook. You remember back in the day, people would have these little notebooks. They call them what? Song books, where they would put in all these. This reminded me of that.
Thank you.
But let's get to your thoughts this morning now.
Thank you. And it's good to be here, sandwiched between the two of you. It's a real privilege. And I want to say a good morning to my flag bearer, Nana Kosia from Poma Sapon Komankoma, and your cherished viewers. Two things on my mind this morning: the Supreme Court decision on the parliamentary saga and the current cholera outbreak. I will start with the Supreme Court decision, which authored by His Lordship Justice Yao Asari-Dako. I have read the decision. I really looked forward to the decision because I was one of those that, even though I tilted a bit towards the position that Parliament had overstepped its bounds when it comes to interpretation of Article 97, I am glad that with the decision from the Supreme Court, it has brought clarity to the matter, especially the concluding part that says Article 97, 1G and H must be understood within their contextual framework, with no implicit or explicit indication that they pertain to future electoral aspirations. That one line sums it all up for me. I think it would open the door to a lot of instability in our democracy if the ruling was otherwise. And I would want to commend their lordships for this erudite ruling. And secondly, regarding the cholera outbreak, I've been following it closely because a lot of us are concerned about the environmental issues that we have around, the sanitation issues, and the news that 16 people had lost their lives to cholera was indeed shocking. And I have been quite concerned about it, especially with the backdrop of this problem that never goes away, the pollution of our water bodies by Galamsey. Because now you have people engaging all kinds of mechanisms, trying to use, I've forgotten the name, but an aluminium-based component to put in their water in order to try and cleanse it. And apparently, it does not cleanse the water of the impurities. It may make it a bit clearer, but the water is still impure. Heavy metals. Exactly. So I think this current cholera outbreak should be looked into closer. I know that most of the time, cholera is caused by maybe people preparing food with unwashed hands and having fecal matter in the food, etc., etc., which means that people are probably forced into using other sources of water to cook their food. And I think the authorities should look closer into this cholera outbreak to see whether it has any correlation with the current pollution of our water bodies by Galamsey. I'm no scientist and I cannot draw any conclusions on it, but the more I hear about this outbreak, the more I'm convinced that there may be a link with what is happening. And the final thing on my mind is the announcement by the Electoral Commission about the disqualification of the GFP candidates. And I pray that we find a good resolution to this matter, because it would be a strange phenomena, because this is not a district assembly election or.
But is there no, pardon my interjection, is there no resolution already? The EC has said he presented documents that were fraught with some errors, and I have said that some of those things ought to be checked as well, not just this person, Roman father, as he is affectionately called, but in previous events where people have, if there's forgery, if there's let's deal with it so that maybe some of these things will be lessened. But in his unique case, he was given another, I think, a 10-day or 1-week window to regularize, and still there were problems in there. And they have said that Ekuadonko will remain on the ballot, and that is it. But they are not going to reprint because it will cost the ordinary taxpayer many more millions. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense to me to say because of that, you're going to reballot or reprint. That would cost a whole lot of money. So I don't get what exactly you're...
I agree with you on the first part. I agree with you on the first part. The EC, they are very diligent when it comes to looking through the forms to make sure that everything is right. Because if you're going to represent this country, you have to make sure that you do your due diligence. You have to make sure that you have the required integrity. But regarding the second part of Ekuadonko remaining on the ballot, I think that is a bit of a problem, because we have a large number of illiterates or semi-illiterates who are part of the electorate. And these people, not all of them may understand, this issue. So I believe the EC must find a way to either perforate the box where Ekuadonko's image is, or either the stamp that is put on the ballot paper before we vote, that stamp may be put in that box. Otherwise, you have a lot of people voting for her and having spoiled ballots, or voting for her mistakenly thinking they are voting for the CPP candidate, who's the only woman on the ballot.
Yes, I think in some instance we have to give voters some credibility. I mean, there's education going on. A lot of people have heard that. You know, unfortunately, she's met her maker. I think it can be dealt with.
Very well.
Okay, let's get into the newspaper. I want to start with the Daily Graphic. It says President Akufo-Addo received France's highest award. On the 4 MPs seat ruling, Supreme Court gives reasons for its decision. I know you started by giving us your reflections on that. DBG profitable, well governed, according to the management. And let me see what this award is. So France has bestowed its highest national honor of merit on President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The National Order of the Legion of Honor was conferred on the president at a ceremony at the French presidency in Paris yesterday. The President of France, Emmanuel Macron, personally decorated President Akufo-Addo with the Grand Officer of the Legion Honor, the Order Medal at the ceremony. And this Legion of Honor is the highest honor of, where's the continuation of the story, merit given by France to individuals who have provided exceptional services to France or defended causes and ideals that France supports, such as democracy, human rights, press freedom, and humanitarian services. So our president has received that highest honor of merit from France. Let me quickly run through some major stories in the Daily Graphic, and then I'll come to you for your reflections. The Development Bank Ghana has announced a net profit of 80.14 million Ghana cedis in 2023 fiscal years. They said they are profitable and well governed. Fiscal crisis, unrest, herald Senegal polls, and 2016-2020 promises, Gabi versus Magdan. That's an interesting read. You should pick a copy of that for yourself. Republican win 218 U.S. House seats. King Charles celebrates 76th birthday by opening food hubs. What I do want to get into a little bit more is the Supreme Court's reason for declaring, or for, what influenced that ruling for saying that the Speaker's interpretation was, should I say, inaccurate. The Supreme Court has held that a member of Parliament does not vacate his seat if he intends to contest in a future election on the ticket of another political party other than the one that brought him to the House. In a 5-2 majority decision, the Supreme Court upheld the suit by Majority Leader Alexander Penyo-Markin, and in that Article 97, Clause 1G and H of the Constitution, which form the basis for the Speaker of Parliament to declare 4 seats in the House vacant, pertain to future parliaments and not the current. Let me finish these stories. I'll come again and ask some questions on this matter before we proceed. BICAF Kayaye Leadership Fair held in Bogatanga. 3rd batch of girls in ICT training begins in Ashanti region. Battle for Dome-Kwabenya intensifies. Hopefully we'll get there and gauge what the constituents are asking for, what will inform their voter choice, hopefully in the course of next week. And let me do some more stories here. What else do we have? This is an opinion, says politicians admonition revisited. $200 million tree crop diversification project launched. The government, in partnership with the World Bank, has launched the Ghana Tree Crop Diversification Project in Accra. The 6-year project would be funded with a 200 million credits from the International Development Association of the World Bank, and it involves the production, processing, and trading in 6 high-value tree crops such as cashew, shea, mango, coconut, rubber, and oil palm. On addressing mental health issues, religious bodies have a role, says Professor Joseph Osafo. And let me see what's on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Report to tackle Accra's urban challenges launched. So in a significant step towards transforming Accra into a sustainable and inclusive city, the Accra City Synthesis Report has been launched. This is a comprehensive study developed in partnership with the African Cities Research Consortium and offers evidence-based strategies to address the capital city's urbanization challenges. And it is based on extensive research and stakeholder consultation and identifies 6 key issues facing Accra. They comprise of infrastructure deficits, housing shortages, weak land use enforcement, limited management reforms, ineffective waste disposal systems, and the growth of informal settlement. Off the top of my head, I can agree with this. But before I come to you, the question is, so what do we do with the concerns of these two dissenting judges on how this precedent, because it is, could influence future issues of this sort? Their main issue is that if this is a procedural issue, why is the Supreme Court entertaining this when ideally it should have gone to the High Court? What are we? I've had a lot of commentary come in, and I'm interested to know what are we making of those two dissenting judges' concerns, because indeed it's the procedural issue that could come back in the future, and before we know it, the Supreme Court's taking over power over Parliament. You can step in at any time and say, you know what, this is what you're doing, and I don't think it is right. Do it that way. What do you make of this? And then the other stories that I touched on.
I respectfully differ a bit with the dissenting opinion that it is a procedural issue. I have heard various other views on the case. But in my estimation, this is a purely constitutional issue. Okay. As much as it is a procedural issue in the sense that the Speaker may have used the wrong procedure in declaring the seats vacant.
No, what I meant by was it should have been sent to the High Court first, rather than going straight to the Supreme Court. That's what I'm trying to...
Because what happened is that the Speaker exercised a power that is in the exclusive domain of the Supreme Court.
Which power was that?
Which is...
In fact, the Speaker, well, various things have been said, but it was said that he didn't make a decision on it. He only expressed an opinion and left it there. And that if they had even spoken to the Clerk of Parliament, they would find out that they were still on the majority side. So which power? And in any case, Afenyo Markin's petition, what was it based on? There was no decision on which it was hinged. So what exactly? I want to understand your point.
The Speaker, from what I have read and heard, made a ruling. He did make a ruling and declared the seats vacant. And when you make a ruling on a constitutional provision that has not been tested under 1922 Constitution, then that power that
you had not been tested?
Yes, as far as I know, 97 1G with regards to the current situation has not been tested, because this is not a situation where the MPs crossed carpets to go and vote on the side of the NPP. This is a situation where the MPs decided that in the upcoming election, they were going to contest on either as independents or on other party tickets. So in that sense, 97 1G, by the Speaker exercising that power, he had exercised a power that, in my humble view, is in the remit of the Supreme Court. And even though I have heard views that it is a ruling
but even in addressing these matters, 99, which follows from 97.1, yes, A to the following clauses, and then 99 talks about the High Court dealing with these matters. But I just have, because sometimes, while the law is not always common sense or what you think should be applicable based on wisdom or emotions or even morals, right?
Yeah.
Common sense does come in various ways. So my question is, if the law is that once you do this, once you cross carpets, these must be the actions. The Supreme Court says, on the face of it, this is not what it means. So those MPs, at whatever time within their tenure, let's assume the same scenario repeats itself. They've not resigned. They are in Parliament.
Yeah.
What purpose then does the law serve? Because then, do you realize that the law becomes redundant? It is there, but they can go independent for the next elections, or they can switch and practically nothing happens. You understand that, right?
Yes. If you switch in the course of the parliamentary proceedings itself, assuming next year, one independent member says that he's now a member of the NPP, or an NDC parliamentary member says that, or even a CPP parliamentary member says that, I am giving up my membership of the CPP. I am now a member of the NDC. That is in real time. He has changed.
What's the difference? Exactly the same thing happened with the Fomena MP, Honorable ACM. I mean, we can play with this, but realistically, you usually wouldn't have a member of parliament. You see, this would usually practically always happen when elections are approaching. Do you get it? It will likely not happen in the middle of the tenure.
Exactly.
So that point is moot.
I understand you.
It will only become relevant around these periods where some people will feel aggrieved, some people will go independent. It's only around this period this thing will really happen. I mean, it could happen otherwise, but realistically, this is where it will happen. What we are doing then is saying that it will usually happen around this time, but even when it happens, nothing is going to take place. That is why I'm saying the law must make sense, right?
I understand you. I understand you. So and I think that as time progresses, I also understand the concerns of the minority, the dissenting view. But Parliament, the Supreme Court itself is able to depart from its previous decisions if it feels that they were made in error. So as much as I totally agree with this Supreme Court decision, I don't think we should be too worried about how it will play out in future. If in future we look at the context of our democracy then, the Supreme Court sitting then can decide to depart from the previous decision. So as much as I agree with this decision totally.
You say can decide, so as and when it suits, should I say, wherever the wind is blowing and who is at the top of, who is heading the Supreme Court, they decide in what way to interpret it.
Well, there's judicial review and all of that. But the reality too is that when you have justices who, like in the US, I always like to go to the US, 6-3. Most cases you would see, I found it interesting when some people, had even prophesied that it would be 5-2. Based on what they made that prophecy, what crystal ball they looked into, I do not know. But the point is, in the US, for example, on a number of issues, you can determine from those that are conservative and those that are liberal, how it will go. You can determine these 6 likely will vote this way, and these 3 likely will vote this way. Remember, the justices of our courts have tenure for life, at least until retirement.
Yes, until 70.
But
in Ghana, until 70.
It's a tenure that very little can do to truncate unless there are certain constitutional triggers or they have performed some egregious acts for which, like you remember Anas, I think it's number 12.
Yes.
And some of them, had to be set aside. So that is the reality. So when these decisions are taken, mind you that these people are going to be there for a long time. It's not about when some other, those are the dynamics. But I think we should move the conversation.
That is true.
We should move to other bits.
Okay, but that's that for me. Do you have some quick reflection, any other stories?
Yes.
So let's get into your newspaper.
Okay. Another story that really touched me is, the CPP, we are all about the ordinary man on the street.
Which paper are you reflecting on?
No, the stories I did
from the graphic.
About the Kayaye leadership training in Bolgatanga. I think the last time I was here, we spoke about, or somewhere else, we spoke about the current happenings in the Upper East region. And I think I made the point that when the youth are trained in skills, when they have something to do, then they will not become cannon fodder for instability. So when I saw this Kayaye leadership training program in Bolgatanga, when we mentioned it, I was very happy.
Okay.
And I think that should be the tangent which all political parties, all CSOs, that should be our mindset. Once the youth are busy, once they have something that brings in income, then we'll have all this instability. I mean, ending. As the saying goes, so the devil finds work for idle hands. When you are enjoying what you do, or even if you don't know what to do and you are given something to do, you earn money from it, it's perfect. So it's commendable. Right. Another story too you mentioned is a $200 million tree crop project. It's also laudable. It's also laudable because we know that trees are the lungs of the earth. As they say, even the Amazon forest is a lung of the earth. And whenever you don't have trees, you cut down your trees, you open yourself up to a lot of issues, flooding and all that. So this $200 million tree crop project is good about cashew, shea, mango. But my concern is that, are these organic tree crop products or are they GMO? Because we really have to be careful about this GMO issue. I know people have a lot of views about it. The CPP has been in court on this GMO issue for many years now, because basically, I believe there isn't enough education on it. The GMO issue simply means that when you buy these cashew, shea, or mango seedlings, after you have harvested, you have to go and buy the seedlings again. You cannot reuse them. These seedlings expire. So we need to take a closer look at this $200 million thing and make sure that these are organic seedlings. If they are GMO seedlings, then I believe that we should not go the way that the two major parties have gone. This GMO issue started in 2011 under the NDC. NPP too carried it on. We have to be very careful what we do to our farmers and the ordinary man by selling them seeds that expire and they have to go and buy from the West. And the next one is a mental health issue about religious bodies having a role. I think it's a step in the right direction. As a religious person myself, I believe that sometimes these mental health issues have their religious aspect. But I'm still of the view that when someone has a mental health issue, try and go to the health facility first. And then you also, at the same time, employ the religious aspect to it.
All right.
So for the sake of time, we're going to have to accelerate on some of these issues.
So let's get into your paper then.
Okay.
A bit quickly.
Okay. So I have here the custodian, where on the front page you have Akufo-Addo receives France's highest national award. We all know His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has close ties with France. He did some of his law practice there. So if the French president has found him worthy to be awarded, I think it's a well-deserved award for service to France. But when it comes to service to Ghana, as a legal practitioner myself, he has done a lot for the legal sector. As Attorney General, he was part of those who brought about the fast-track court system, which till today has sped up this, justice delivery in our courts. But I think we shouldn't let this award divert our attention from the Galamsey issue and other issues. I think he has done well. He deserves this award, but we should not let it slide. We should remember the other issues. And then we also have Bawumia is best man for Ghana now. President Kufuor and His Excellency President Kufuor is one of the presidents that I admire very much, the gentle giant. During his era, I was doing my national service in Jirapa, and that was the era of I've forgotten that debt forgiveness program. I forgot HIPIC, the time of HIPIC. And when HIPIC started, I was one of those who opposed HIPIC. But driving in the bus from Accra to Jirapa throughout the country, I saw a lot of HIPIC projects. He's one president I admire very much for the policies that he did for this country. And he's saying Bawumia is best man for Ghana. Well, I leave that to the electorate. But let's remember there's only one woman on the ballot. Ghana is from 1957. Ghana is, I think, about 67 years old now. And it is time to try a woman. We are nearing our retirement. It's time to try. He may be the best man for Ghana, but who is the best woman for Ghana? There's only one woman on the ballot box, and we should look at her. Okay. And then
one last story from you, and then we go to Ben.
Okay. The last story is Fidelity Bank partners UNFPA to end obstetric fistula in Ghana. That is also a story that touches my heart. Fistula is something that, as far as I know, does not affect men. It affects only women. And we believe that it is in the right direction. A lot of our policies, a lot of our financing goes only to general issues that affect both men and women. But in my view, women's issues need more attention. So this is a step in the right direction. I want to commend them for that.
Thank you, Osajifo. Benjamin.
Well, a number of stories in the Daily Guide newspaper where I'm starting. Some of them have been looked at. French President honors Nana. 4 MP seat saga. Why Supreme Court overturned Speaker. And Baumia, best man to lead Ghana according to Kufuor. All of those stories have already been delved into. But 2 Ghanaian, 2 Chinese Galamseyers opened defense. And Nana Kwame Opoku, a Ghanaian charged together with 2 Chinese for illegal mining in the Ashanti region, yesterday opened his defense before a high court in Accra. He was arrested together with Li Weiguo and Shi Meiji, a Chinese couple, and have all been charged with conspiracy to undertake mining operations without license, contrary to certain sections, of course, of the Criminal Offences Act. Interestingly, in South Africa, there's a situation where some miners got into a shaft, an unused shaft, and the government is refusing to assist them get to the surface. And I think if we got more radical with illegal mining, some of these things, in that instance, hundreds of South Africans are in that illegal mine shaft. And the government says, no, we are not going to, do this. You knew what you were getting into. Then, also on page 3, the Electoral Commission has started distributing ballot papers to all 16 regions of the country ahead of the December 7 general election. Our prayer is that things go according to plan and that we can avoid any problematic situations. There's, let me just do a few. Kofi Nti, Tyler Perry settled copyright dispute. And of course, his song Odawna, I've been following that issue, used in the Sisters series of Tyler Perry. And he says his lawyer in the UK triggered a process. He sang that song together with Oforian Ponsa, and he says he's got some, monetary consideration for the use of his song, but he didn't mention how much he got. I'm sure he's smiling all the way to the bank on that one. Let me just, there was another bit I quickly wanted to look at, and it's a wrap for me. So, rise in unsafe sexual activities worrying. There is a rising increase in sexual activities without the use of condoms among the youth in the country. The observation is contained in a communique issued at the end of a 3-day conference by the Society of Obstetrics and Gynecologists of Ghana, SOGOG as they are called, held in Koforidua. And there is a worrying increase in sexual activity, including a rapidly declining age of sexual debut among the adolescent population, but low rates of condom use. There are significant gaps in the integration of HIV and sexually transmitted infection screening with other health services. And again, there is minimal use of technology or virtual platforms to reach the adolescent population with sexual and reproductive health education. So these are all issues to be looked at. ALMA trains female journalists on election reportage. The Alliance of Women in Media in Africa, in collaboration with the UN Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, organized a 2-day workshop in Accra aimed at empowering women in the media space. That's definitely a good thing. In sports, Angola coach taunts Ghana. And yesterday it went well for us as far as Sudan were beaten by Niger, a thumping of 4-0. But the question is, can we beat the Angolans? They say if you play enough with a dog, it will lick your face. Of course, we all have pets and all of that. But if you give room, you'll be treated as you deserve. And we've given room, so we are where we are. The Inquisitor, Bank of Ghana's exchange rates are artificially created. That's according to Dr. Etiahene, Richmond Etiahene. I've been following that issue. You can grab details of that. Agojo stinks Dampare again. Personnel transferred for attending funeral with Maame Tiwa. That's another story there. And ABC News, We have taken you as our son, a Krofom regent, says to Dr. Bawumia. I like how all these chiefs and regents and stuff, against what the Constitution says, are, you know, applauding and deciding, oh, we support this person, we support that person. I hope someday, if maybe the person they were not expecting to win does win, and maybe the person says, like our president said, oh, I didn't develop that area because of this and that, they will not start crying. I sincerely hope so. Because I don't see why these chiefs can't remain in the middle. And if this person comes, Asemisiba, bless the person, wish the person well. If the other person comes, bless the person, wish the person well, without necessarily saying, I support this person or that. I don't get it, but I'm sure there are things that happen that beat my imagination. So that's that. I'm done here. Any quick reflections?
Writing something, so let's give you the final word.
Yes.
This will be in about a minute. We have to go.
Sure. I have 3 things down here, and I'll go quickly. Empowering women in the media space is a good thing. I'm always biased towards affirmative action, giving women the upper hand. And secondly, we have taken you as our son. And I understand where you are coming from. The Constitution says chiefs should not engage in politics. But some of their statements, you can see they are taking a bit of a middle ground, saying that they are not really endorsing.
Oh, some are outrightly endorsing them, asking people to vote for them and all that, canvassing for them.
Anyone who, I'm not talking about people taking middle ground. Yeah. I'm talking about people going
all out.
Bahama is going to be president. Okay. Bawumia is going. I'm saying that such people and their communities, while the whole of Ghana is supposed to be developed, you can't tell. People can be very vindictive and all of that. If you suffer, in fact, it is so irresponsible. If the people in your locality suffer because of your reckless comments, what do you think you've done?
Yeah, it's true. And then finally, unsafe sexual activities. I mean, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. I have been through the media looking for, political stories that advance, but all you see is issues about promiscuity, people hailing adultery, this whole, it's not something that is new to anybody, this whole Equatorial Guinea thing. And I think we should go the way that Australia has gone in banning under-16s from social media. Because now people think it is normal to be promiscuous, to be adulterous. But even if you're not religious, you know that promiscuity and adultery breaks the home and is bad for the mental health of the children, spouses, society, as a whole. If Ghana is going to stand against LGBT, which I agree with perfectly, they should also stand against promiscuity, adultery, side chickism, which leads to this unsafe sexual activities. We must take a stand. We must not be biased. And then,
thank you so much for coming. Kwame Nkrumah is General Secretary of the CPP. And he says side chickism is the problem. I like that. Benjamin Akakpo, we have to go. Who's coming up?
Well, we do. We have Mikel Antonio. He's a West Ham forward, and our very own Muftau Nabila Abdullahi has been interacting with him. He visited Ghana, and his interaction will be coming up after the break.
So today on Prime Take, we are speaking to West Ham United striker, Mikel Antonio. Mikel, welcome to Ghana.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm not too bad.
I hope you're having fun.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I've gone out a couple places, had some food and stuff. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Kudu said you were going to enjoy.
Yes, he did. He said I'll enjoy it with him more. So next time I come, I'll make sure he's around.
But he's around currently for international football.
But he's playing Angola, so he's in Angola right now.
So he's quite busy, isn't he?
Yes, so he's playing international football. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm leaving today as well to go play for Jamaica. So I managed to have a couple of days here, and then I'm back to work.
Well, what brings you to Ghana?
So I have my football academy. This is where we're here right now. They're playing. I feel like there's so much untapped talent in Ghana, in Africa, and like me, I didn't feel there was much opportunity for me when I was growing up. So I'm hopefully give the Ghanaian players an opportunity to showcase their abilities and make their way to the Premier League or other clubs across Europe.
Do you have other academies worldwide? Because someone would ask, what would influence the decision of a Jamaican international to have an academy in Ghana?
I have an academy in South London, and I also got the academy here. I chose Ghana because my agent's Ghanaian. I feel like there's an untapped, like I just said, an untapped talent here.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's just so much players, so much people who have the skills, have the quality, but just don't have the representation, don't have the opportunity to showcase their abilities. So this is why I've done it. And obviously with Ghana and Jamaica, they got their partnership with their visas and stuff like that. So I thought it was easier for me to get here with my Jamaican passport. And like everyone says, Ghanaians and Jamaicans are alike.
And you mentioned something quite interesting for me. Your agent is a Ghanaian, so you feel like doing something in Ghana. But if you take a look at what you have witnessed so far, has it given you some sort of encouragement?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. We've had 2 tournaments so far, and in each tournament we've had clubs take our players on trials. We've had players being linked to clubs. They've not officially signed yet, but a couple players have signed for clubs. So we are doing okay. Obviously, the building is not done, the football pitches are not done yet at our academy, but they're not far off being finished. So we know that there's untapped quality. We know that Ghanaians are and African players are pulling through right now and becoming one of the best players in the world. So why not? Why wouldn't I put up an academy in Ghana?
It is one thing setting up an academy, it's another thing creating a pathway for the talent to succeed. Do you have something like that?
Yes, 100%. Obviously, I'm not doing this on my own. I have shares in it. My agent has majority shares in it, and there's another one called Tony Appiah. He has shares in it. But it's not just us 3 who's doing it. There's also Freddie. Freddie is our technical director, and he's controlling how the day-to-days and ins and outs are going. Obviously, he helped us win the tournament. When was it? Well, he helped us win the tournament, the last tournament. And in that tournament, we had other players get scouted again. So it's just, we've chosen to do this because we know that it's untapped in quality. We know that these players just need the opportunity for them to showcase their qualities. And then we know that they've got the qualities to make it in the Premier League, to make it in Europe. So it's just giving these players the opportunity.
Giving these players an opportunity. In the early phase of the conversation, you mentioned about giving talents opportunity, right? I would like to understand, in your early beginnings, how was it like? Did people also create opportunities for you like this? How would you describe those early days?
In my early days, I didn't really play football much growing up, so I didn't get the opportunities to play. I used to play in the back garden or play with my friends at the park. But then, as I was getting older, I didn't get opportunities to really showcase my stuff to academies. So I was really just playing with the school. And then if you didn't get scouted at school, then you didn't get the opportunity. So I also played community football, but when you're playing community football, it was like Fulham, Chelsea kicks.
Yeah.
I did that. But you're there, you might have the title Chelsea, you might have the title Fulham, but these community football foundations, they weren't actually scouting any players, they weren't actually taking players from the foundations into the academies. So I didn't really get the opportunity to showcase myself to the actual academies, even though I was at Fulham Community, even though I was at Chelsea Kicks. So that's why we're doing this academy, so we can literally bring the clubs to the players. Like the last camp we had Chelsea, we had Anderlecht, we had a few other teams from Belgium.
Was that
I think
Celta?
another one, Celta.
Yes.
Yes, so we had a few clubs come down, and these are the head scouts. These are not just people who have to report to somebody else.
Yeah.
These were head scouts who are there, and if they actually make decisions whether they can bring a player in or not. And so we're giving these players opportunities to be sat bang in front of decision makers.
What you're saying, Klaus, suggests that your early beginnings were not that rosy. It kind of meant that this was a gentleman who needed to do it the hard way.
It wasn't easy, but I wouldn't say it was harder than coming through an academy, because when you're in the academy, you're already in the door, but there's 40 other players in there. Most academies, only 2 or 3 players actually get a pro contract. So I won't actually say it was harder for me, but it was difficult because I wasn't, when you're in the academy, you're there, they see you, you can show, you can shine. Whereas when you're not in the academy, no one knows who you are. So you are not seen. It's very difficult for you to break through because they have 40 players already there. They have 40 players who have qualities. They have 40 players who they believe are better than you already. So for you to go in there and showcase what you can do is very hard.
See, okay, so how would you describe that very moment that you were given an opportunity to play football at topmost level, considering your journey?
When I signed for Reading, because Reading was the first club I played for, I went on trial to Millwall. Millwall offered me a contract. And then, but obviously I had another trial at Reading at the time, so I went to Reading on a three-day trial as well. When I woke up the night before on the Thursday, I couldn't sleep when they offered me that contract because that's where I wanted to be, that's where I wanted to play championship football. I've always believed in myself, I always believed that I was good enough to play. It's just getting that opportunity.
And the opportunity finally came. Who gave you that opportunity?
The opportunity? I went out on loan. I went out on loan 4 or 5 times when I signed the contract at Reading. I went to Cheltenham, I went to Sheffield Wednesday, I went to Colchester. Let me not forget anybody. Cheltenham.
If you forget, they'll go.
Southampton.
Yeah.
Southampton.
Oh, Southampton, yeah.
Yes.
Because
So,
we contributed to your growth, and you've forgotten about that.
yeah. So, and the craziest thing is, Southampton probably is my biggest loan because that was a season I played 37 games, got 7 goals. I think I got 7 assists. 7 goals, 7 assists, played at Wembley, scored at Wembley. Like, that was the season that kind of got me the breakthrough and got me the opportunity so people can see my actual skills.
Is it special to score at Wembley? You just mentioned scoring and played at Wembley and scored at Wembley. Is it
100%.
special?
There were 75,000 people there. Scoring a goal in front of 75,000 people was unbelievable.
So, in terms of how your career has panned out so far, right? If you were to advise your younger self, what would you have done differently?
Ooh. The craziest thing is, I made a lot of mistakes in my career. A lot of mistakes. But I feel like every mistake I made kind of shaped me into the player that I am, kind of shaped me into the person that I am. So I'm not too sure if I would actually change anything because I feel if you change one thing, that might change the whole outcome of your future. So I feel like every mistake you make kind of makes you the person that you are.
What were the mistakes you made?
Oh, can't say that on TV.
Just one.
Just one.
One that you can say on TV.
Just one. Obviously, I was a lot younger. I decided to go out on a Thursday night, get drunk, come into training on a Friday, and my manager decided that he wanted to play me that weekend, smelled the alcohol on my breath, and dropped me for 3 months.
For 3 months?
3 months. He said he couldn't trust me to play again.
How did that affect you?
To be honest, it affected me. It was very frustrating. Obviously, it was my fault. Obviously, when you're younger, you blame other people. You don't blame yourself. So I was like, I kept saying, oh, I can't believe he's doing this to me. I can't believe he's doing this to me. But at the end of the day, I did it to myself. But as time was going by, there was loads of opportunities for me to play. But he kept saying that he didn't trust me. But then he did also wasn't sending me out on loan. So he was kind of blocking me because he was very frustrated with me, but he also believed in me, and I disappointed him, so that's why he was punishing me.
Was that meant to discipline you?
It was definitely to discipline me, and it definitely helped me because I never made that same mistake again.
So since then, you've not taken alcohol?
Like I said, every mistake shapes your future.
So now you have some level of fear when it comes to alcohol, is it? Or you still drink?
I don't have fear when it comes to alcohol. Obviously, one thing.
But there's a limit to it, isn't it?
There's a limit to it. There's times when to do it and there's times when not to. I also believe in enjoying your life. Like there's times to work and there's times to play. And I feel getting that right balance gives you a good quality of life.
What is that one thing that many people don't know about you?
The one thing that many people don't know about me? To be fair, I'm quite an open book. I don't really hide much about myself, especially on my podcast. I kind of relay everything out there. I kind of told everybody who I am and what I like to do. So there's nothing I really hide.
You tell us what you want us to hear.
I don't ever, no. One thing you know about me and my agent, he tells me off all the time. He's like, do not say these things. Why do you need to say these things? I'm an open book. I say what I need to say and I believe in what I say. If I say it, I mean it. And that's what stresses him out and that's what he doesn't like. But at the end of the day, I believe in everything I say. So I'm not lying. I'm going to tell you the truth.
So how did it feel to have finally had your breakthrough to play in the Premier League?
It was a bit of a roller coaster ride, to be fair, because I came on for 10 minutes against Man City, left wing, but ended up playing left back because they were all over us. We were winning 1-0. And I didn't play again for another 3-4 months. I was just sat on the bench. The manager didn't give me opportunity and I had to wait and bide my time. So I thought I've made it. I thought it was quality. I thought I'm now a Premier League player. But one thing has always been difficult and one thing that's always happened to me in my career is there was always a shock to the system. There's always a stage where you need to be better. There's always a stage where you need to prove yourself again. And that's what's happened to me my whole entire career.
What was that to suggest? Or you felt undervalued by your manager?
I wouldn't say I felt undervalued. I wouldn't say I felt undervalued. I just felt like
But there were moments you got frustrated by that.
Yeah, 100%. Every player thinks that they're the best player. Every single player thinks they are the best player. Every single player thinks that they deserve to play.
How did you recover from these?
How do I recover? Because one thing in me is I always believed in myself. I always believed that I'm quality. I always believed that I can do a job. And that's what all players believe. And that's how you become an elite player, by believing in yourself, by saying that you're one of the best, by saying these people are not better than me, I can go out there and do that job. The day you start doubting yourself is the day that everyone takes that step ahead of you.
But have there also been moments where you feel your managers never treated you right?
Well, in football, there's always moments like that. Like I said, every single player believes that they should be starting. Every single player believes that they are the best player. So when they are not playing you, you feel like you shouldn't be playing. When they're not playing, you feel like you should be playing. But there's also times where you are doing well and the manager drops you. There's times where you're not doing well and the manager plays you. So it is very confusing, football life and the politics of it. It's very confusing. But it's one of the things with football is I've loved it since a child. I've always enjoyed every single moment of it and I'm still enjoying it now.
Your highest moment, which 3 moments would you describe that these were the moments that were the defining moments of my life?
Ooh, that's a great question. All right, first one is becoming professional, signing that professional contract at Reading. Second one, I would say getting an England call-up. Even though I didn't play, getting an England call-up kind of like put my name out there, made people notice me more. And third, I would say becoming West Ham all-time goal scorer.
Yeah, that's. I was expecting that one.
Yeah.
I was expecting that one because when I was going through the list, I would have been completely surprised if you had not mentioned that West Ham angle. This sort of suggests that you've really had fun at West Ham United, because I was going through your numbers; they were crazy. You played about 373 Premier League games at West Ham United. If the figures I came across are anything to go by.
I don't know the figures, but it'll be around that. I've been there, it's my 10th season now. Obviously, all-time goal scorer. I think I'm like second when it comes to assists. I've got so many different type of accolades. First player to score at the London Stadium. One of the last people to score at the Bowling Ground. There's just so many things I've managed to tally up, all these accolades that I've managed to get in my time there. So I've loved every moment of it, and hopefully I can keep doing it for a long time.
West Ham is your home?
100%. London was where I was born, and majority of my football went up before I came to West Ham was mainly up north. Or I was in Reading, I was in Cheltenham, I was in Colchester, I was in Southampton. Like, there's so many different places that I've had to live and stuff like that, but West Ham brought me home.
Have there been moments you considered leaving West Ham?
Obviously, as a footballer, there's always moments there's been times where I've been linked to other places, there's been times where it's been close for me to leave. But it didn't happen, and I'm happy I'm still there.
So what were those things that made you consider moving away from?
Every player wants to play. If a manager comes in and says that you're not their cup of tea, that you're not their player, you're not their flavour, then you have to look for other options. And the type of football that I play, some people don't like it, some people do, some people love it. It's all about opinions, end of the day. So if someone comes in and says they don't want me to play for them, they don't believe that I'm their type of player, then I'm gonna have to look for someone that does believe that I'm their type of player. And luckily, over the last 10 years, every single manager has come in and said I'm not the type of player. End of the day, I've ended up having to use me.
The last 10 years? That's crazy. But which manager would you say has made you really feel wanting to play for West Ham United? You've had so many managers.
So many managers. To be honest, I'm very likely going to have to say, I'll probably say David Moyes, especially the first time he came. He literally came in with like near relegation zone,
yeah,
and he just turned things around. Like, he came with some new type of energy, came in, he lifted the boys. That first time, definitely, he was unbelievable.
Wow. So what inspires you, what motivates you, not just at West Ham United, but in life generally?
In life, I'll say my kids. My kids motivate me.
How many do you have?
I have 6.
6 kids?
Yeah.
Wow. At 34, you have 6 kids?
Yes, I do.
You don't only strike on the pitch, you strike in the bedroom. Oh, God.
Yeah, so
you don't only strike on the pitch, you strike so well in the bedroom as well.
So, basically, my kids motivate me because all I want to do is give them a better life than I had. And obviously, me being a professional footballer, I've already started doing that, but it makes me just want to keep giving. And that kind of motivates me to keep going, keep pushing. And especially, 6 kids ain't cheap. So that's another reason why I gotta keep going.
If you weren't playing football, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't playing football, I'd more than likely be like a PE teacher or accountant. Those are the things I was looking to do before I became professional.
Those were the things that were in your mind. Why?
Yeah, because going to school, I love my PE teachers. They were the people that I always got along with, and they looked like they were always enjoying their lives. And I love doing sports. Like, I'm kind of good at all-round type of sports type of thing. So it was something that I always wanted to do. And then accountants, because I'm good with numbers, and I thought like it'll be a good job to do and make some all right money.
It will be out for me to move on this conversation to another space without talking about something many Ghanaians will be interested about. Your teammate Mohamed Kudus. You have been with him. In fact, I've known him since 2015, 2016, when I was one of the few journalists. Tom Vernon, the founder of Right to Dream Academy, invited some selected journalists to his academy at Akusumbo.
Yes.
That was where I saw Mohamed Kudus, and within the last 4, 5, 6 years, he's one of those top talents in Ghana. You train with him daily. What sort of a player is he?
He's unbelievable. The guy, some of the tricks he does in training, some of the tricks he does in games, it's just, you can't get the ball off him. And the thing is, you know what he's going to do because you train with him week in, week out. You see him do it to other people and you're like, he's not going to do it to me. And then he does it to you. And then he does it to you. And you're like, Mo. Like the little one where he keeps like flicking the ball over you, little tricks, little dinks and stuff like that, little chops. Mo is quality, like very quality player, still young. So he's got a lot of football ahead of him and a very exciting future ahead of him.
You have been at West Ham United for 10 years. What are some of the tips you think he needs to succeed at West Ham?
Some of the tips is to be resilient. One thing with West Ham fans, they are
I see some West Ham United fans here.
They are relentless. Relentless. They are not forgiving. No, that's a lie. They are forgiving, but they get onto you very quickly. So it's being able to deal with the pressure of the fans because they expect a lot from you. But even though they expect a lot, they appreciate the minimum side of things. Yeah, it's quite crazy. So when you're at the bottom of the league, they'll turn out, they'll sing for you and stuff like that. When you're at the top of the league, you lose 2 on the bounce, they're booing you.
They are booing their own player.
It's crazy.
They've done that to you many times?
Many times. Many times. You're at the bottom, they're singing for you. At the top, they're booing you. But they're constantly, week in, week out, they're turning out for you.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
It's crazy.
There are many people who look at Mohamed Kudus and say, considering his talent, he's got what it takes to dominate world football and probably win African Footballer of the Year.
No, with his talent, 100%. Obviously, African Footballer of the Year. There's so many great potentials there. There's Aubameyang, there's Mo Salah, there's Mane, there's obviously Kudus. Yeah. So I honestly believe that he has the talent to do it. It's just obviously he needs the surrounding of his team to also help him to do it. And right now, Ghana is a quality team, and obviously had the quality past and the quality history. But right now, they're not doing as good as they feel like they should be doing. Yeah. So I feel for him to win that, I feel like him and Ghana, the team, has to do more for that to happen.
You mentioned one thing that caught my attention about West Ham fans. Sometimes they can be unforgiving by booing their very own players. Yeah. This kind of abuse, especially those that come from social media, how psychologically, how does it impact players negatively?
It's a difficult one because some players are used to it, some players can avoid it, some players can't avoid it because social media is massive right now. Everyone kind of has Twitter, Instagram, whatever else there are, others, TikTok. And some people can just be like, I'm just not going to go on it. But some people can't. Some people have to read it. Some people have to see what people have to say about them because you like to see the good. But sometimes looking for the good, you also see the bad. You can get 10,000 good comments, but that one bad comment will stand out because obviously it's that one comment that's just going to stand out because it's completely different. It's people just starting to understand that, end of the day, footballers are humans and footballers have feelings. Whereas most people feel because we're professional footballers, because we're making this amount of money, they feel like we should be numb to certain things, but end of the day, people are people and humans are humans.
He spoke about social media abuse being the reason why he got that red card against Spurs. I listened to him and I felt so bad because he's a young man that I know quite well. And that's why I asked the question about how psychologically it affects the player. You are with him. How is he taking all this?
Right now, to be honest, when you've got a red card and you know that you can't play for 4 or 5 weeks, there's no longer any type of pressure on yourself. Because when I was going through a bad time, it was turning out every week on a Saturday, every single week, knowing that you've got to be out there with the scrutiny, with the opinions and everything like that. That's what makes things difficult, constantly having to step out on that field, even when you don't feel good. So now he's got that opportunity where he's got that break where he can clear his mind. So he's been good, he's been all right. I've not seen any type of negativity towards him. He's been training well, he's been staying strong, he's been staying fit. And I feel when he's back and gets the opportunity to play again, I think he's going to be raring to go.
Who is the greatest African footballer that you have played with in the Premier League?
Ooh. Greatest African player I've played with.
Because you've played with many.
Yes, I have.
Oh, the most difficult player you have.
Greatest African player I've played with.
That's quite a difficult question.
That is a very difficult question.
What makes it difficult? Okay, the opponent that you have met.
All right, the greatest opponent?
Yes.
That's easy. I'm going to have to say Salah. No, Mane. Mane, like, I feel was underappreciated at Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool actually understood the quality that he had, what he did for the team. Obviously, Salah was unbelievable, and he still is unbelievable amount of goals that he scored. But I just feel like what Mane actually did for the team, he brought everybody together, the goals, the assists, like the work rate. Mane, for me, at Liverpool was unbelievable.
Talk to me about playing for Jamaica. You had a call up to England, though you didn't play, then you switched nationality to Jamaica. Why? What influenced this decision? Why Jamaica, not England?
To be honest, when I was 22, I tried to play for Jamaica. The manager came to Sheffield Wednesday to speak to me, and he was like, "Oh, we want more players to turn out to Jamaica and blah, blah, blah." I was like, I would love to, because obviously I was very connected to Jamaica. My mum brought me to Jamaica from the day I was born till I was 14. So for 6 weeks, every 6 weeks holiday, from the school break, I went to Jamaica for the whole entire 6 weeks. So I was very connected to Jamaica. So it was somewhere where I wanted to represent. But then he came and watched my game, played Leeds. I had a nightmare of a game. I was terrible. But I honestly still felt like I should have been picked, because at those times I was playing in the Championship and he was calling up players in League 2, League 1 over me, whereas I was playing in the Championship for 3-4 years before that. So I feel like one game shouldn't have been the representation of how I played and the qualities that I had.
And you consider that quite unfair on you?
Yeah, 100%. But end of the day, I had the opportunity to play, to get called up to England, and it kind of put my name out there. Because obviously England's a massive team. England is represented worldwide. Yeah. They always in and around get to semi-finals and stuff like that. So the opportunity to even be in the 25-man squad for England was quality. I didn't get the opportunity, but I also got the opportunity to play for England, play for Jamaica, and I do not regret it in any way, shape or form, because I love every single moment that I put on that Jamaica shirt.
watching the AM show on Joy News. And before we get into our next belt, Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is giving 15 communities free water. And this is just to say thank you, Ghana, for making us the #1. Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Do you know that Syntex comes in so many different colors and sizes and was also the first to come out with inner white layer tanks? So when it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to the social media handles at Syntex Ghana and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better chances you have of Syntex coming to your community. Remember, it's Syntex, S-I-N-T-E-X, Syntex Tank. Not be any tank be tanko. The correct tank be Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Now this morning, let's bring you AM business. And traders dealing in Kente are struggling due to the influx of counterfeit textiles in the market, leading to a loss of customers and potential closure of businesses. Now this issue is particularly prominent in the central business district of Accra, where fake Kente products dominate, causing genuine textile sellers to suffer. James Eshen is on the beat and tells us more for today's AM business.
The aesthetic beauty of a Kente cloth is affected by the color symbolism. Around the 17th century AD, the vibrant traditional fabric known as Kente, which is worn mostly for special occasions and festivals, was created. The sector is regarded as one of the most important areas supporting Ghana's tourism economy. The National Museum of Ghana, which has been refurbished and is the oldest and largest museum in Ghana, is open to the public and tourists. There, I met Mr. Ohene, who has been in the Kente business for more than 35 years, to discuss the state of the industry.
Nafi machro Kente ahodoɔ ahaye Kente a yɛfrɛ no adwina sa no kyerɛ sɛ Kente no design no ɛne yɛfrɛ no adwine no agu ahodoɔ bebrebe na wei yɛ mmarima deɛ no ɛwɔ maa ne ɛne ɛwɔ mmarima nti saa Kente wei sɛ no ɛyɛ mmarima Kente. Saa deɛ ɛmaa deɛ wei wɔ hema Kente no Kente wei no ankasa no yɛfrɛ no Fatia Fata Nkrumah. Na Fatia Fata Nkrumah no yɛ first president no ɔno na ɔtɔɔyɛ ɛde maa ne yere ɛde yɛde ne yere di ne ɛtoo soɔ nti yɛfrɛ no Fatia Fata Nkrumah. Nti ahasɛi na me nso so meyɛ me Kente no ɛkwan ɛfa so a yɛyɛ Kente no nyinaa yɛyɛ ne sei na yɛakeka abobom na ayɛ ɛma ɛde mɛma deɛ Kente a ɔmo no nso so no ɔnyɔrɔ a ɛno nso so ɛno na ɔmo de yɛ Kente batakari no. Kente business in a say dear a coffin. Sent in a say, Yadene buy and COVID, you know.
Due to the COVID-19, business is not as flourishing as it was in previous years, but we are steadily recovering.
The Yamiadam Afina Kente Jumano as a peja. Na Kente Jumano, dear ma, a year Nigia, Naya Morosoni say, O my Ghana no, I won't fast woo pa. Semi say Mechere said you see, you know, Mechere design. Said you see a beer with the dinner, a beer with the minute, and into Kente beer or power faswa, you see, you know. And I feel so a young man.
I share with others the art of Kente weaving. It benefits both the young men and the women. Due to the COVID-19, All of the foreigners who had been arriving and going from here stopped coming.
COVID so me person hu ekwan ben so na affected.
The ma high ne say sabre no na ahoho no ba beto na ema yenya mfaso kakra nanso so ebra yade ne ba ye no ema obi agyae ba obi asuro so obeba na obaba bi nya COVID ni bi eni ntie ma adwuma no egu ikora.
Nti eja menfa say entomaya o mechi eno ebo no be say
entomaya e wo wachi eye mema de na kente no eye different designs nti bia wo ne bo na we sesi a sesi me de kire we no e mema de no eye 2,500 and na e ma de so.
What we have here is for guys. We have many designs for Kente. What I have here is 2,500 Ghana cedis, while the ladies is 2,000 cedis.
The Kessia no Kente kasa ni nyina no ye nwuno no tise we sei na yaskeka abobom na akoye baako omo copy se we ye gumi ko mu yi omo ya na omo de akohye machine mu omo beye ni sei pepepepepe bet wo woni mu Kente mu no so mu abo so omo de ne material by de ne tradition.
The rate at which Chinese Kente has gained roots in the Ghanaian market and Ghanaians patronizing it instead of the original Ghanaian-made Kente, according to him, this could seriously affect the local Kente industry by the next decade if the imported inferior Kente is allowed. The fascinating aspect of the Kente industry is how much Ghana gains from it. Even the foreigners are curious about what we do.
Omutimi di yama na se ye de no ba obi a onimu Kente mu no se wo kɔ Kente ho a wo se wo ye Kente na omo de na koye material but se se no omo de eno se ye adwuma no pa se ntiri se obi ho a onimu emrofo yi ba onya hu colors no a wonim so Ghana Kente na enso so no difference e wo mu nti omo de higher.
They have numerous machines that may copy our designs and make them their own. This is very worrying. Some raw materials are quite expensive to import. The inflation and the weakening cedi are also affecting us.
Ebono de ekosoro sentini se enam inflation nti no ama bibia akosoro nti ama homa no so ekosoro
wo de boam se sia ebo no Kente bo no menim se ne ete pa boam se wo to Kente I don't know se moye ne yado se tse ebo no tete se wo betumi aboam kakra
me mfa ne se de egumi ko mu yi first no nanka yetimi tono ebia 40 Ghana say ya ye the 50 Ghana emma empono ebi wo hono mu a eboro so na ne nyina so gina design no we ne friend design no ne nyina free design no ene ne bo.
I engaged a trader who has been selling Kente for years on the difference between the Chinese Kente and the original Kente. To what extent is this affecting the Ghanaian Kente business community?
They are picking our local designs, doing their own. But since their own is cheap and our own are locally made, it's expensive than their own. So probably some people cannot afford the original wave Kente. Would rather go in for their own than our own. So it's true, it's taking over our distance because, for example, the one I'm holding like this is 1,000 Ghana cedis. Then look at the China one like this that I'm holding like this. The whole 6 years, which a woman can sew, slate and cover, and 2 years will be left. It's about 90 cedis. So if you are to patronize the two, and you see that you can't afford the original one, you rather go in for the Chinese one. So that one then is true. It's really taking the market. Yes.
Kwasi, a Kente seller, tells me sales is down now. What is the way forward for the Kente business? How do we sustain their operations to support the tourism sector?
China for the enye papa. Oh, ye Kente ne papa. And ye Kente so ne buono. And I say more money to asani and my AC to tomorrow. Oh, Libya over colony to a deal. Jama ye Kente no. Se ne tono abafom. Da abafom nyina so no china. Sabi ewiase de asi.
There are differences between what we do and what we import from other countries.
China for the year, just compare.
In contrast to this, our Kente is of higher quality.
Cheap. So, yes, apart from
Can the $10 million financial aid for small and medium enterprises from the World Bank for Tourism and the hospitality sector help in this fight?
Development of entrepreneurship has the potential to contribute to specific development objectives, such as the employment of women and the youth. It is in this direction that the government, through the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, is in this year supporting SMEs in the tourism, hospitality, and creative arts sector with a grant of $10 million United States dollars to enhance and expand their businesses.
Questions yet to be answered by the authorities. But for Ohene, the government should be proactive and step in regardless the investment.
If you say nipa bebre pe abadwuma na so no adwuma ya me ye adwuma kese a me dia hwe me ma amomwa ko school omwa adim.
Over the years, Kente as one of the area supporting Ghana's tourism sector. Speaking to Ohene, who has been in this business for over 30 years, he tells me COVID-19 really took a great toll on them. With respect to inflation, things are not easy for them. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
Well, sports over Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, and it's time now for Blunt Thoughts with yours truly. And this morning I've titled it simply, Merchants of Menace, the Curse of Demeter. Of course, you know of the Merchant of Venice, but this one I've named it Merchants of Menace, the Curse of Demeter. Why have I titled it that this morning? I'll be explaining shortly, but with a story. I'll go through it very quickly. There is an ancient king. He was called Erysichthon. He was a monarch in Thessaly, a region south of Macedonia in central Greece. His name, which means earth terror in Greek, foreshadows his fateful actions as it is part of an event that would define his fate later in life. His woes began when he, the king, decided to chop down a holy grove that was dedicated to Demeter, the ancient Greek goddess of agriculture. Erysichthon came up with the idea of chopping down this grove, even though it was more than just a group of trees, right? According to Greek mythology, it was a very important sanctuary which was believed to be filled with divine presence and was home to a number of nymphs and ghost creatures well revered in the ancient Greek world. In the version of this Greek mythology tale produced by Callimachus, Erysichthon took 20 men with him to Demeter's sacred grove, where he first cut down a black poplar tree cherished by the tree nymphs. The tree, according to legend, groaned as he wounded it, alerting goddess Demeter to the unholy act. Now, if you go on with that story, despite repetitive warnings from his troops and even Demeter herself, who disguised herself as a mortal, lady to appear in real life and discourage him, Erysichthon carried out his outrageously sacrilegious act. He rudely dismissed Demeter's warnings, threatening to strike her with his axe and claiming falsely that he needed the tree to build an extension for his feasting hall. Based on the poetic accounts we have, Erysichthon did cut down that great oak and consequently killed the dryad who lived in it. This understandably made Demeter particularly angry, as Erysichthon had ignored her warnings. In an act of retribution for his blatant arrogance, Demeter decided to curse Erysichthon with an insatiable appetite that would torment him forever, as he would never feel full, asking for more and more food to eat. No matter how much he ate, he would never be full. Demeter summoned Limos, which was the spirit of insatiable hunger, and instructed him to torment Erysichthon. Erysichthon's appetite was no longer satisfied by anything after that, no matter how much he ate. His hunger was so intense that he spent all of his money trying to satisfy his unstoppable need for food. Insatiable. Now, Ovid's account adds that Dionysus joined Demeter in punishing Erysichthon, inflicting an unquenchable thirst upon him as well, making his life even more miserable. In fact, the curse was so severe that even the parents of Erysichthon refused to visit him, and he quickly spent his wealth on food and drinks, trying to satisfy his never-ending desires. And in the end, Erysichthon's unstoppable appetite led him to take unbelievably drastic measures that no sane man would ever take. In fact, he sold all of his belongings, and when these had run out, he decided to sell his beloved daughter, Mestra. Erysichthon literally sold his daughter as a slave and used the money from this transaction to buy more food. Put in the place of Erysichthon today, our leaders, including the president. Put in the place of Demeter and the nymphs and the others, the dryad, Mother Earth, and the rest of us. It's an analogy. Back then, I used to read a lot of these Greek stories, so some of them come to mind from time to time. And the consequences that Erysichthon faced being the consequences that we are likely to bear. There's a reason I am bringing this up today. And if you follow me, while I'm going to start with the Mo Ibrahim Index and look at what it says about judicial independence and others, the thrust of what I'm going to do is on Galamsey and how it is laying waste, not just to our environment, but to us, and how it is costing us and will continue to cost us. Come with me. Now, if you look at Ghana's governance rank in Africa, and I'm going very quickly, so stay with me, right? According to the latest Mo Ibrahim Index report, 2024, you may think there are some positives. I want to highlight positives before I get to negatives. In 2014, we placed 8th on that index. In 2023, we placed 7th per the ranking. Next slide. And if you look at it, the areas where we've improved, and at least we must pat ourselves on the back for some things, right? Health, our percentage points from 53.2%, we've moved to 60.6%. And that's the time range from around 2014 to 2023. Education, 51.1 to 61.9. And some are the lowest versus the highest figures. Control of communicable diseases, 63.6 to 72.6. That's an improvement. Air quality, 59.1 to 70.7. And like I said, 2014 to 2023. But let's go to the next slide. Then you look at the impartiality of Ghana's judicial system. So there are some positives: health, education, air quality, communicable diseases, dealing with those. But especially on the back of some of the recent happenings when it comes to our judiciary, it's important to focus on that as well. Because if you look at our performance in terms of impartiality of Ghana's judicial system, right? Out of the 54 African countries, in 2014, we were ranked first, the highest, the best. 2016, an electoral year, we were ranked 4th. 2017, we were ranked 3rd. In 2023, things have taken a nosedive. We are ranked 12th. Next slide. Now, if you look at our judicial autonomy and how it has not just plateaued, it has sunk and plateaued, right? In 2014, we were at 100%. We were the highest in Africa. Same if you go all the way to 2017, thereabouts. In fact, this should plateau before 2017, and this is on the back of what results we had been getting before then, right? And since 2018, it has been a 50% decline, like you see here. What happened in between? That is a question I think we all ought to be asking ourselves. What happened between 2014 and 2023? We're scoring half of what we used to score. What happened? Let's get further into the breakdown. If you look at this, 0 being the worst, 100 being the best as far as judicial independence, you would realize that in 2014, we're scoring 91.3, 2015, 94.5, 94.4 in 2016, 94.4 in 2017. Then, sharp drop in 2018, 68.7. What accounted for this? And that trajectory continues, and now we're at 66.9 from 91.3 and a high of 94.5. What happened? These are questions we ought to ask ourselves. If you look at the face of that report, you may not see it, but when you go into the report and look at the breakdown, then you see some of these things. Next slide. Now, you then juxtapose that with the Afrobarometer report. And if you look at trust in Ghana's courts, right? Mo Ibrahim Index, now Afrobarometer. What are they saying? 65% of respondents had a mistrust or distrust of the courts. That is a 22% decline from 2012. 22%. So it's not just one report. The question is, what is happening? I'm not saying anything. You decide for yourself. And again, when these critiques come, it is not to say that any institution or body is not working at all. But if standards are falling, what can be done to elevate them? The Chief Justice herself, when she took over, spoke about some developments to make the judiciary serve the people better. Maybe it's high time they took a look at some of these indices. Next slide. But the voices of people who in recent times have questioned our judicial independence include Justice Sophia Akufo, former Chief Justice of the Republic. She has had some tough words, right, for the judiciary, which she was at the helm of not too long ago. Justice Atuguba himself, and this extra G shouldn't have been there, also has had some cause for concern, including the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and whether in this latest incident of the Parliament and everything else, it should have been the one addressing the issue. Shraj boss Joseph Whittle has joined the fray. Chachu Chikata, among other legal luminaries, have done same. Like I said, I'm not saying anything. But is it high time we re-examined, retooled our judiciary and how maybe some things are done there? Maybe. Next slide. But then my main focus, which is taking me back to the story of Erysichthon, right? And the curse of Demeter. You see, sometimes we like to wax lyrical. Congratulations to Mr. President for the award from Emmanuel Macron, the French president. But if you read that story well, you'd realize that paramount among the items, the reasons for his getting the award, is service to the French. They always do this in their interest. Trust me, it's not in your interest. So don't get it twisted. But Mr. President, at COP29 recently, had some interesting words. He said this: as a father and a grandfather, as a father and a grandfather, I question what world we leave behind. Our children's future hinges on our decisions. Valid point. But then I look at Mr. President and I look at the damage to our environment and I ask him, Mr. President, these words, do you mean them? Or are they just for, lip service, for show? I mean, we say Akufo-Addo show boy. Yes, we love but how about the real action on the ground? And I don't disparage anybody. I don't want to denigrate anybody. But words must carry meaning. The words must mean something, not just to us, to generations to come. And that is why the next slide is very worrying for me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at this. And by the way, we've done our fact-checking on this. We have confirmed, we have even, this gentleman, he sends drones into Galamsey area. So we actually interacted with him. He's been on Newsfile and all that. So understand that we do our due diligence before putting anything like this out. This is the Jimmy River. Now, before and after, it is located in Obuasi Udumase. Before and after the assault of Galamsey, think Erisicthon and Demeter, our leaders, and Mother Earth. June 11, 2023, according to SREM, Edem SREM, this is, and like I said, we have validated, this was this river, the Jimmy River, with a dam actually there. Look at it, looking pretty pristine. A year later, as some will say on social media, a few moments later, November 10, 2024, this November, that is the state of it. Same water body. Whom are we kidding? Whom are we fooling? We are killing ourselves. When? When will we stop? When? Is this the legacy our president spoke about as a father, as a grandfather? Is this the legacy we want to live for our children and our great-grandchildren? Next slide. Now, if you look at the index, I'm going back to the Mo Ibrahim index, sustainable use of land and forest. In 2014, 41.9. In 2023, 37.6. Now, this is not a reflection of just the breakdown. You'd realize there's a difference. This is the cumulative drop in different areas. 10%. Look at that. Now, if you go to the next slide, you would see also that land and water protection, we've done, impiously, if you like. 37, now 24.9, 2014, 2023, a span of less than 10 years. And the drop cumulatively, 32.7%. Next slide. All of these point to you that things are not as rosy as sometimes we want to paint the picture. And then if you look at exploitation of biodiversity, absence of illegal exploitation of biodiversity, you would see that from 61.5, which was itself problematic in 2014, we're trying to get better. Now we stand at 25%. We are losing in fact, I don't want to say we've lost, but we are losing the battle badly. Why do we pretend? If you have a problem and you pretend there's no problem, who's the fool? Who? Tell me. Next slide. And as I wrap with this, I intentionally put this last. Do you know why? Because sometimes we like to pretend and act like, oh, it's not as bad as they say, and this and that. This is how it's costing us. You can produce the cocoa, no one will buy it. Because now they're getting contaminated. It's not just the yam, the cassava, and everything else. So Lint produces chocolate. They have been sued over alleged presence of harmful heavy metals, including lead and cadmium in their chocolate products. Do you know what that does to your kidney, your system? We'll be talking about diabetes and the rest shortly. Ghana is the largest supplier and the only origin country Lint sources cocoa from. So guess what? If this is happening to them, it is our cocoa that is causing the problem. Lint and Sprungli sources 100% of its West African cocoa bean supply from Ghana because of the high quality of cocoa beans in the region. This is a real-time effect that we are facing. If we are not careful, in the next few years, in the next decade, we'll be producing cocoa and you will not get a buyer. That is where we are. That is the status quo. That's the state of affairs. Therefore, let's avoid the curse of Demeter or the curse of Mother Earth because it is upon us. My name is Benjamin Akapo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. May God not just bless Ghana and make her great and strong. May He give us wisdom. May He give us the right leaders, the right followers, the rest of us, so we can do the right thing. Thank you for watching. Welcome back. It's time for our big stories, and we're getting into, Sweetie Abochi and yours truly, we're getting into this next belt where the Ministry of Education is launching a full-scale investigation into allegations of supply of expired food items to some senior high schools in the country following an expose by Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Member of Parliament for North Tong and Chairman of Government Assurance Committee. Well, this morning we have an interaction with the PRO for the Education Ministry. Kwasi Kwarteng joins the conversation. A very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Benjamin. How are you?
I'm well. How about you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Great. We also have Sweetie Abochi here, so both of us will be fielding questions to you. But just to kickstart the conversation, how much do you know about this latest expose and these claims about, food that may not necessarily be fit for consumption being sent to senior high schools? What can you share with us?
Oh, it came to our attention yesterday. Apparently, my boss was not around, but I had to run it by him. It so happens that it also came to his attention also through your media platforms. Until Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa made those claims on social media, the ministry was not aware. And of course, even if you listen to the narrative and account that he gave, you realize that going by that and assuming without admitting that the claims...
Mr. Kwarteng, the line is cracking up a bit. Can you just reposition a little for me and speak up?
Is it better?
I think it's a bit better. Yes. Please go ahead.
I'm saying that even if you listen to the narrative or account of Mr. Ablakwa, you can clearly know that, assuming without admitting that the allegations he raised were valid, it was obviously done at the blind side of the ministry. So it came to our attention just yesterday. And remember, in terms of even food supply and distribution, the Ministry of Education has no such mandate or responsibility. It's the responsibility of buffer stock. They deal with our suppliers and later bring invoices to the ministry. We verify those invoices, and then the ministry makes payments through the same buffer stock. So we were not in the know until yesterday when the matter came up. But of course, when it came up, the minister has given some directives, which include investigating him and also making sure that we get to the bottom of this matter.
Okay, that's interesting. My little bit to you before Sweetie Abochi comes in, though. You say the ministry is not doesn't have direct oversight, and I agree with you. That is the situation. Buffer stock does. But once it is under education, you have an overarching oversight, even as far as buffer stock is concerned, to ensure that they are doing the right thing. I remember the time where there were claims on, buffer stock about non-payment and all of that. Eventually, you had to wade in as an education ministry. And if there is any harm to any student related to such an incident, you know that people will say education ministry. So in the end, it filters back to you. How much responsibility can we expect you moving forward to take on a matter like this specific matter?
Yes, ultimately, it rests on the Ministry of Education. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, ultimately, the backstop goes with the Ministry of Education. But I think the fact of this narrative should also be put in a right or proper context. If you are a supplier and you are asked to supply, let's say, 8 bags of rice to schools, and you present the items as wholesome, and to the contrary, it is not as such. Objectively, which system is there for anybody to be able to detect that? If you, for instance, go to the shop, Malcolm, and buy rice, and expiry date, everything shows that the rice is wholesome. It's almost impossible for you to detect.
But there was some intentionality about this. The rice was rebagged. It was rebag. People knew the rice had expired. They rebagged.
Benjamin, can you wait? I'm not sure that is in contention. This is assuming without admitting that what the claim or the narrative by Mr. Ablakwa is true. Nobody is disputing that. But clearly, this is a clear criminal activity that has been undertaken at the blind side of the ministry. If you go and sit in your room as a supplier, together with, say, a staff of Bafasol, and repackage rice and distribute to schools as also, the matron sitting there obviously will not know that this is a repackaged rice. So let us also not debate on the fact. There is a clear case of assuming is even fair. I want to be emphasis should be on assuming without admitting that it's true. This is a clear case of people who were in their secret places had to take advantage of the opportunity that they had to work with government and scam the buffer stock on government at the end of the day. It is not a case that maybe the ministry was aware that they are rebagging and the ministry sanctioned it. No.
Okay, Kwasi Kwarteng, I have to interject at this point. So this isn't the first time we are catching wind of something like this. This year alone, I think in around May thereabouts, FDA discovered some expired food items in Zwarungu Senior High School storeroom. As far back as 2018, there was a similar incident in some Brongahafo schools who expressed the same concern about expired products from suppliers. What measures have you put in place as a ministry to ensure that this doesn't become an expose before you jump on it to fix the problem, but you're actually checking that there's food that we're feeding our students in senior high schools are not expired? What measures do you have in place to check these incidents from happening?
I will want to understand, first of all, even the import of this question, particularly the reference that you brought. Because if there are no measures, how will, even if in the first place, FDA or agencies responsible for detecting it even find out that wholesome foods exist for us to even...
Well, if you're checking, then issues like these will not come to light for us to be launching investigations and trying to backtrack and where did it go wrong and all that. So the question is, what are you doing to ensure it doesn't even happen again?
You called me for an interview. Ask a question one at a time and let me give a response to it.
Go ahead.
I don't think there's any right for us, there's any good for it to appear that we are bouncing on. At the end of the day, for who? The facts are there. The facts, what Ablakwa said was, has been read to all of us. Unless, of course, you are saying these facts have been verified and they are true. I had an option of addressing this. My option would have been...
I do want to hear you, so please reposition and try again. You're breaking up a bit. Okay.
I'm driving, that's why. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, but if you could park, it would be good for us to hear you.
Kwasi, we want you to be safe, so please...
So maybe we may have to. Either adjust or maybe...
No, we can't hear you.
All right. We'll have to...
Reconnect?
Maybe make it very short because we also don't want to compromise. Kwasi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but are you able to hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead with that, and then we'll wrap shortly with just concluding thoughts, because we don't want you, on the move.
I'm saying that, as of now, these are allegations that have been leveled by the government. We do not want to dispute it without even providing any basis. As of now, we've gotten in touch with Bafasol to provide a response to it. But let me say emphatically that the ministry does not countenance on this, and at no point has the ministry accepted. This clearly, assuming it's true, was done at the blind side of the ministry, and it marks an element of criminality. But the assurance that we are giving is that as soon as possible, we've commenced even investigation into this matter, and the ministry is going to communicate to Ghanaians on the issues that were identified so far as this matter is concerned. But, are you able to still hear me? Are you able to still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if I'm to repeat or you heard everything.
We heard what you said. But I, out of curiosity, I also want to just chip in. Sweetie will continue from there. So with what actions we can expect, assuming all of this is true, and again, this is not the first time we're seeing something like this, what likely punishment? Because if there had been punitive measures, punitive enough, people would, yes, you would say that people may still try, but people would be more afraid. We're endangering the lives of young people. How much will you push for punitive measures to be brought to bear if these people are proven guilty?
Benjamin, are you able to hear me?
I hear you, sir.
I'm not sure it is fair to run conclusive and situate your questions within a context of having concluded investigation. I'm not sure it will be in a fair position. Allegations have been made.
That is why, Kwasi Kwarteng, I say if it is proven.
Why would we speculate when you have a clear opportunity of addressing the facts based on its merit? Allegations have been made. I have told you that we've gotten in touch with Microsoft. And Microsoft has assured us that they are going to give a response, of course, to the Ministry of Education this morning. I think it is only right for us to speak within a context of facts. When questions are structured in a way that suggests that a conclusion has already been made.
But are you suggesting we can't go back in time and also point to what has happened? Hello, Kwasi. Okay, I think we've lost.
Connect with him in our subsequent bulletins to get
and also to get a clearer connection. I see he took exception to your going back in time to bring up these issues, but it's not out of any mischief. It is also born out of the fact that if they have happened a number of times, and this wouldn't be the first, the second, the third, it's been happening, right? This is just the latest bit. And if people have been proven in the past to want to milk the system, make money, as the Bible will say, reap where they have not sown, then there are problems. What have we done to really stem the tide of same? And that's why I was talking about punitive, measures.
But anyway, this is where we are. Hopefully the investigation will bring to light what really happened there, and then we can hold those accountable to book. But there's a lot more coming your way on the AM show. Let's take a break and we'll be back with more. Before we take that break though, Kwasi Kwarteng is back online and he wants to conclude. It's only fair that we hear him clearer now. So, Mr. Kwarteng, go ahead. What's your concluding remark?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes. Hopefully you've packed so we can hear you better now.
All right.
Okay.
So I think for us, what I was trying to put across is that we take these allegations very seriously. And at no point are we going to protect anyone if it is established that the allegations are valid and are true. In the meantime, we assure Ghanaians, parents, and of course the general public of our commitment to ensure the safety of our students in school. But I think, based on the right process and even the principles of natural justice, it is only proper that we hear from also the institutions that are involved, and assurance is that we will communicate whatever findings to the general public. Even on Monday, we are making plans to meet our FDA, hopefully the company, matrons, to be able to get to the end of this matter. We will not countenance or compromise on any findings because our priority, first of all, is to protect the safety and well-being of students. And so we take all the concerns that has been raised in good faith, except to say that even in our discussions of it, particularly within the media space, we must not also be so hasty in running conclusions that will, in the end, tend to even suggest that or make a suggestive conclusion that may, at the end of the day, compromise even the whole essence of the investigation. But rest assured, the well-being and safety of students is our concern.
And Kwasi, we don't intend to keep you here any. All right. Thank you so much for putting this in perspective.
Kwasi Kwarteng, we're grateful for your time. He is PRO of the Education Ministry, and he had this interaction with us. Now, before we take that break, in an effort to boost adolescent health and well-being, the Sekandi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, in collaboration with the European Union, has officially handed over 3 newly constructed adolescent reproductive health and counseling centers to the Ghana Health Service. The centers located at Diabenekrom, Kojokrom, and Esipong aim to address youth-related issues such as teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, and school dropout rates. We'll bring you more of that in that report.
The Sekandi Takoradi Metropolis has formally handed over the newly established Adolescent Reproductive Health and Counseling Centers to the Ghana Health Service. The centers are part of the EU-funded Twin City Sustainable Project, a partnership between Sekandi Takoradi and Palermo in Italy. Speaking at the event, the mayor highlighted the importance of these centers in supporting the youth to make informed decisions regarding their health and future.
The location of these facilities, namely Diabenekrom, Kojokrom, and Esipon, were strategically selected in response of the growing population and the youth-related issues such as teenage pregnancy. Child prostitution also included illicit use of drugs, school dropout, irregular migration, and gender-based violence. To this end, young people need safe, supportive space to learn, express themselves, and seek answers without fear or judgment. The center, therefore, have been provided with a clear vision to empower youth with the knowledge, resources, and guidance they need to make informed decisions about their health and lives.
In charge of the Diabenekrom Health Center, Diana Ayo Abba, shared impressive statistics showing over 50% reduction in teenage pregnancies in Diabenekrom and its surrounding areas since 2016.
In 2016, it was about 65%. Now it has reduced to 25%. In fact, we've done a very big job, going house to house, educating them in school, both mentally and physically. So we are happy to see this facility here that will encourage them more to visit us with their problems and also educate them and let them lead a good health.
Representing the delegation from Palermo, Francesco Campana stressed the need to educate both boys and girls on adolescent health matters to ensure holistic developments.
And when we talk about teenager, I wanted to stress we are talking about female and male teenager. It's not a problem the pregnancy of the teenager that come home with a baby. No, the problem is that someone has decided that maybe it was possible. So the education with male and female is important. It's a process, of course. Everywhere in every part of the world is the same story. But put the youth at the center, put the women at the center, at the top of every project, and you are topping and you are putting the future in your project.
These centers are fully equipped with quality health professionals, counselors, and mentors ready to assist young people.
Welcome back on the AM show, especially as we approach Christmas and in the course of our daily routines, we consume a lot of things, fluid, solids, and all of that. The question, though, is the things we eat, the things we drink, how do they impact our lives? Today, we have a certified nutritionist in the studio. She's going to be talking about diabetes, prevention, management, using nutrition, the very things we consume. It's a pleasure to host Fawzia Abdul Rahman, a registered nutritionist. Fawzia, good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a while. Where have you been hiding?
It feels good to be back.
It feels good to be back in the new studio.
Yeah, in the new studio.
Great. But let's start with diabetes. What exactly is it?
Sure. So November, as we all know, it's Diabetes Awareness Month. And we celebrate, so yesterday was World Diabetes Day. The celebration is to honor the November 14th birthday of Dr. Frederick Banton, who helped in the discovery of insulin back in 1921. Yeah, so when we talk about diabetes, basically it's a chronic condition. That means once you are diagnosed, it's a lifelong condition whereby you have high levels of blood glucose or high levels of glucose circulating in your blood. Now we have three main types of diabetes. We have the type 1, which was formerly known as childhood onset diabetes or juvenile diabetes. This happens because it's an autoimmune disease whereby the immune system attacks and destroys what we call insulin producing cells in the pancreas, which causes either little or no insulin production at all. And it accounts for about 5% of the diabetic cases that we have. Then we have the type 2 diabetes, which is what we call the adulthood onset diabetes. It mostly affects adults, but as it stands now, I mean, it affects people of all ages, whereby the insulin is produced all right, but the body is not able to effectively utilize the insulin that has been produced. Then we have the other one, which is known as the gestational diabetes, where it occurs in some pregnant women during the course of pregnancy. And this happens as a result of the placenta releasing a certain hormone that causes insulin resistance. So if your pancreas is not able to produce enough insulin, then you can have gestational diabetes. And usually we screen pregnant women for gestational diabetes in their second trimester. So yes, so that's a quick rundown of diabetes. And globally... Are
there some of these pregnant women? Because I know some of them become hypertensive, some of them develop... Are there some who, even after pregnancy...
Yes, so one thing with gestational diabetes is that it usually goes after pregnancy. But women who have encountered or have been diagnosed with gestational diabetes stand an increased risk of suffering from diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, later on in life. So yes.
I see. There's also this myth, since you mentioned the pancreas, which regulates our insulin levels in the body. There's this myth about sugar consumption leading to diabetes. How true is that, or how false is it?
I would first of all like for us to debunk some of the myths surrounding diabetes. So with diabetes in itself, it has no cure. Once you are diagnosed of diabetes, you only learn to manage it by treatments in terms of the medication and then your diet. But then when you have pre-diabetes, so pre-diabetes means that your blood glucose levels are high, but not high enough to be diagnosed as diabetes. So with that one, it's reversible. But once you are diagnosed with full-blown diabetes, there's no turning back. So that one is irreversible. And then some of the interesting things I've also heard is that people say diabetics cannot eat carbohydrates. And I laugh at that because if you are not eating carbohydrates, what are you going to eat? Because the bulk of the foods that we eat is made up of carbohydrates. And that is the most preferred source of fuel for the body to use as energy. So because in Ghana here, most of the foods, the staples that we eat or our meals are carbohydrate-based, anytime you eat carbohydrates in the form of the food or the drink, after digestion is broken down into glucose so that the body can be able, the cells can be able to absorb that glucose, to be able to fuel the body as energy. So the insulin acts as a hormone. The insulin actually is a hormone, but it acts like a key to be able to help the cells to be able to utilize the glucose circulating in the blood. So if there's a problem, either whether it's type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, then the body is not able to effectively utilize the insulin.
So it is technically not sugar consumption, so to speak, that causes this. Right. So let's come to, like I said, especially as we approach Christmas, people eat all kinds of things, drink all kinds of things. What role does nutrition play in diabetes? Not getting it or getting it, and how can we deal with it? Because we also know that diabetes is leading to, in some cases, sores, ulcers, glaucoma, you know, and other things, kidney disease. What should we know?
So there are 4 main areas we look at when it comes to, for people who have been diagnosed of diabetes. When it comes to the management, we look at 4 key areas. So I call it BMED. You have to monitor your blood glucose. You have to monitor your blood glucose every day. Then you also, so that's your sugar.
Is that for diabetics?
Those who are diabetics.
Okay.
Then we have the diet. Then we have medication. So if you have been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, that is to say you are solely dependent on insulin for the rest of your life. But if it's type 2 diabetes, that's a combined therapy. It depends. Either you are only on the orals or you are on insulin, a combination of both the insulin and then the oral medications. Then you have the diet. You have physical exercise or physical activity. The diet plays a major role because you may be taking your medications all right, checking your blood sugar every now and then. But if your diet or your eating is not right, you are going to have a problem. And because we eat 3 times a day, with diabetes, you don't have an off day. It's constant monitoring. So there's no off day for you. So that is why the theme for this year's celebration is diabetes and well-being. We call it the invisible disease because it affects both your physical and mental health. So this year's celebration, we are trying to, help people suffering from the condition be able to deal with it because there's some form of stigma associated with being diabetic and all that. So when it comes to the diet, yes, for people who are diabetics, you do not have to fast.
I want us to, focus on 2 groups, people who are diabetic and those who are not, to prevent it.
So for people who are diabetics, you are not allowed to fast at all. If you would want to fast, you have to be cleared by a medical professional whether you can't be able to fast. But as it stands now, if your blood sugars are not performing very well, we are not allowed to fast at all.
Whether you're a Muslim and it's the month of Ramadan, whether you're a Christian and it's Advent.
So that's why I started by saying that you have to get clearance from your doctor. If he permits you, allows you to fast, then you can go ahead to fast. Then the other thing also is that you have to eat at the appropriate times. And this goes for both whether you're diabetic or a non-diabetic. We don't eat at will when you feel hungry, no. But you have to eat at the appropriate time. So ideally, there should be 4 to 5 hours interval between your main meals. So that is breakfast, lunch, and supper. You should allow about 4 to 5 hours interval before you have your next
Which also
meal.
allows for digestion.
Yes, yeah. Then the other thing also is your focus should be on eating foods, natural whole foods instead of ultra-processed food, because when you take foods that are high in fiber, those ones are what you call the complex carbs. They help with the slow release of glucose into the blood, and they also add bulk to the food, thereby increasing satiety. So even if you eat a little,
so you are satisfied. To break down, I know, satiety, increasing
so the
satisfaction.
Feeling of fullness, yes. So even when you eat a little, you are satisfied. And it also helps to control the portions in terms of the quantity of food that you are consuming. It helps to...
In the end, it helps with your bowel movement too.
Exactly. It also helps with weight loss. It also helps with management of your blood pressure as well as your blood cholesterol. So yes. Then the other thing also is to go in for foods that are low in calories and packed with nutrients instead of going for foods that are high in fat. Because, Benjamin, if you know, what we have, with the foods, the nutrients, we have carbohydrates, the macronutrients, we have carbohydrates, proteins, and then fats and oils. Fats, 1 gram of fat calories is equivalent to 9 calories. So that means when you take a gram of fat, it gives you twice the number of calories which you would have gotten from eating carbohydrates or protein. So you have to limit foods that are very high in fat and sugar. So that with the sugar, it means you have to avoid sugar-sweetened beverages. So the best alternative or option is to go for water or drinks or teas or something, because water has no calories. You can take some fluids such as tea, coconut water, or soups. So you replace those ones with sugar-sweetened beverages. And then you avoid the processed foods such as the cakes, the pastries, the baked goods basically, because those ones are loaded in fat as well as sugar. And you should also read food labels as well. So when you go grocery shopping and you pick an item off the shelf and you see sugar listed as either the first or second or third ingredient, that should tell you that that food item is very high in sugar. Then the other thing also is to make sure that you are eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, because that's where you get your most of the fiber that you are having. Yeah, so that's just about it.
Okay.
And then,
let me come in here. You mentioned coconut water, which is great, but I also know that with all these things, if you overdo them, for example, sodium, magnesium, and the rest, I had to tell someone that I used to see buying coconut water every day and tell the person, no, while it is good, you shouldn't do it every day, because then, you know, and sodium also has its blood pressure effects and all that. So these must be put into context for people. But you can speak about that and add the bit about highly processed foods. I'm sure some of our viewers will be asking themselves, what is she talking about? She's mentioning cake and the rest, but what are the highly processed?
So with the coconut water, yes, coconut contains a lot of potassium, which helps with bringing your blood pressure down. And at the same time with the coconut, so you know we have the matured coconuts, and then we have the immature ones. So for people who are diabetics, you can go in for the immature coconuts. That one, the water is not sweet, but the matured ones, those ones are the ones that you have a lot of the flesh or the coconut in the shell or whatever. Yeah, the pulp. Those ones are sweeter. So those ones are not recommended for diabetics. You go for the one that is only, when you break the coconut open, it's only water you find inside.
So usually for diabetics, go for the immature coconut. But for the rest of us,
you can do the other one.
Even we should moderate it, right?
Yes, but in moderation. I mean, because coconuts, I sit here and preach that coconut water is good for diabetics or even healthy people. That is not to say that you have that every day. Some people end up drinking 2, 3
at a go.
At a go. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the highly processed foods.
Yes, so with the highly processed foods, those ones are like the name connotes, they are high in calories because they are the food. So we have what we call glycemic index. Now with the glycemic index, what it does is that it determines how much a food affects your blood glucose levels. So we use that as a tool to enhance better blood sugar control. So there are foods that have been categorized as low glycemic index, medium glycemic index, and then high glycemic index food. So for the processed foods like the pastries, the cakes, and all those ones, they fall under the high glycemic index foods because they have a glycemic index of above 70. And with the glycemic index...
Is this on a scale of 100?
On a scale of 100.
And theirs is above 70?
Yes, 70 and above.
Wow.
So with the cakes, pastries, the baked goods, basically the confectionery, biscuits and the rest, they fall under the high glycemic index food. And there are several factors that affect the glycemic index of food. You are looking at the ripeness, you are looking at the cooking method, you are looking at the processing, the number of times it has undergone processing and all that. So yes, those ones definitely have a glycemic index. But if your blood sugar, your blood glucose is well under control or you are managing it properly, you can get to enjoy some of these things, but in moderation and not at all times. So once in a while, on occasion, you can do just a little. So it's not as if you have to stay clear of it, no. But if your blood sugar is well under control, yes, once in a while, you can have it, just something small, not so much. But if your blood glucose is not well managed, then unfortunately, you can't be having these things.
Okay. Now, I know that oftentimes you'd be told by dietitians, the more colorful your food, the better.
Yes.
If you look at carrots, they look orange, kind of. If you look at bell peppers, you have the yellow, green, and all that. Tell us about colorful food and what really makes them colorful and why they are beneficial to us.
So the reason why colorful foods are beneficial are the
related to diabetes, of
so
course.
that's the natural foods that we are eating, not the processed food. So we have what we call the 4-star diet. So as humans, whether you are healthy or you have diabetes, your goal is to eat from a variety of food. So you have your fruits and vegetables. That's where you get most of the colors from. And then you have your whole grains, you have your legumes and all that. So yes, you have to make sure that as a diabetic or even a non-diabetic, there should be a good source of carbohydrates in your meals, as well as healthy fats and protein. The healthy fats, so you have the avocados, you have the nuts and seeds like the walnuts, the almonds and those ones. They are packed with both monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are what we call the omega-3 fatty acids. They help fight inflammation and they are heart healthy, so they protect your heart, because as diabetics, some of the complications one can get if your blood sugar is not under control is you suffer the risk of a heart attack, you can suffer a stroke, it affects your nerves, it affects your kidneys and all that. So yes, you have to make sure that you are eating healthy fats, not fats, trans fats, as can be found in the baked or processed foods.
Healthy fats.
Yeah, and
so
then
salmon?
Yeah, salmon,
fish,
tuna, sardine, mackerel, those ones contain the healthy fats. And then you have your nuts and seeds as well. And then when you are taking the protein foods or the dairy foods, you also have to bear in mind that you go for the ones that are low in fat instead of going for the ones that are high in fat. So something like full cream milk is very high in fat. So you can...
Full cream milk.
Yeah.
So the evaporated milk.
So you can do the skimmed milk or the plant-based milk, such as almond milk or rice milk or soy milk.
Those are healthier.
Those ones are healthy.
We have to go, but to conclude the conversation, so moving this forward, how do people, because in this season, people eat, as we approach Christmas, people eat so many different things. What dietary suggestions do you have for us ahead of Christmas and for our everyday lives, both for diabetics and non-diabetics who don't want to get there?
So I always tell my clients or whoever I encounter is that moderation is key. Moderation is key. If you can avoid taking these processed foods, the better. But I know there are people who cannot do that. So just a little. And one interesting thing is when you are taking some of these things, for example, you are having a bottle of a drink, this sugar-sweetened beverages. I always say that take water, take it with water. So as you take a sip, you can do a sip of water. It sort of reduces the quantity you'll be drinking. And also don't pair it with another, for example, you're having a sugar-sweetened beverage and then you are having pie on the side. They are both high in calories. So you can do the drink and then be taking sips of water or take something healthy after that. But if you can do without it, the better. Because during the festive season, there's influx of so many products on the markets which are all processed and it's not good for one's health. So moderation is key.
Okay.
Moderation is always key.
I am just sneaking this in because I saw the message come through. It's from one of my mothers, Susan. She says, I am watching the program. Please ask about cheese because I love it, though I am not diabetic, but I have sugar intolerance, which gives me tingles in my legs at night.
Yeah.
This is, I call her mommy number 2. Now I'm a nuisance in that one.
Yeah,
what can you briefly say on
cheese
that?
is not bad. Like I said, with the dairy and dairy products, you go in for the low-fat options. We have different forms of cheese. We have mozzarella. We have different cottage cheese and cheese and all that. So go for the low-fat options. That's why it's very important that when you go grocery shopping, you read the food labels. Right. Because I find a lot of people not reading the food labels because a certain product is like a premium or a branded product, they pick it up and just drop it in the cart without actually reading what is written on there or the ingredients listed on there. But I mean, it's they said if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in the books or something. We don't like reading. So it's very important that you are mindful of what you are eating and also reading some of the food labels is very important.
All right. Thank you so much, Fauzia, for joining the conversation. Thank you for enlightening us. Fauzia Abdul Rahman is a registered nutritionist. Today we've been talking about diabetes prevention and management through nutrition, right? We'll continue with some of these ahead of Christmas so that at least it sinks down. But before we take our breather, today on Constituency Lens, we take you to the Ayawaso Central Constituency where voters are relentlessly voicing out the key issues driving their decisions in the upcoming elections, which are only 22 days away. If you want to find out what they've been talking about, stay with us after the break. Constituency Lens on the AM Show.
You're still watching the AM show on Joy News. Right now, I want to take you to Edukrum, specifically to Safari Valley Resort, where about 100 children are expected to tour the premises. Now, Jacqueline and Samayabwa is standing by live to bring us some updates. Jacqueline, what's happening where you are?
Sweetie, good morning to you and our lovely viewers. You're currently at Safari Valley. This is my first time here and I'm enjoying it. I mean, we haven't started the tour yet, but it's amazing so far. 100 students, just as you rightly said, are expected to tour Safari Valley. And this is because, you know, over the previous month, we've been talking about our environment, specifically Galamsey issues and all that. So these 100 students are expected to come here, appreciate nature, get to know much more about how things are being done here in Safari Valley. And at the end of the day, they'll learn something. But then I have some of our sponsors here, Peregrino Properties. Kindly join me here. Kindly join me here right here so that we'll get to find out the itinerary for today and what we are expecting. Mami, kindly, you join me here. Briefly. Now, the kids just arrived. What is the itinerary for today? How is it going to be like?
Today we are basically going to look at nature, Aqua Safari, just as we know it to be. We're just going to tour everything and just understand sustainability. Make sure that before they leave here, they are going back to their homes to go and teach others about how to sustain the environment, basically.
Okay. Yes. Now, someone will be asking why these just 100, are they specifically selected?
No, they are not actually. They are not selected. We just handpicked them, so we just spoke to them about it and then they organized these ones to just come along and then learn about it. Especially those who will be able to grasp things easily and then move on to teach others about it, basically.
Okay, all right. Well, that's Mami from Peregrino Properties, and she's given us a brief on what today is supposed to be like. So at the end of the day, we'll all get to find out how we can conserve the environment just as Safari Valley is. And we'll kickstart the tour very soon. We had 2 buses moving earlier. We're about to have a head count. Then we move to the tourist site here. There's a lot of activities and a lot of fun stuff to do right here at Safari Valley. We'll be bringing you that in our subsequent bulletins on Joy News and, of course, Joy FM too. Back to you, Sweetie, in the studio.
Maya, and of course, we'll reconnect with Jacqueline. We will reconnect with Jacqueline in our subsequent episodes to get updates on what's happening and how the tour is faring. Now, let's get into our constituency lens for today. Carlos Kaloni is on that beat, and he's taking us to Ayawaso Central, where voters are relentless, voicing out the key issues driving their decision in the upcoming elections, which is only 22 days away. Carlos Kaloni is telling us more now on Constituency Lens.
Hello, in today's edition of our Constituency Lens, we are focusing on bread and butter issues of constituents here in the Ayawaso Central Constituency in the Greater Accra region. This is one of the constituencies that has remained loyal to the Elephant family since 1996. The NDC has never won this constituency. The current MP, Henry Kwarteng, won this for a second term with 52.89%. But with a projected voter population of 74,912, according to Ghana Report Election Data Center, will the NDC be lucky this time? We don't know. But what are the issues on the heart of electorate here in the Ayawaso Central Constituency as the 2024 election approaches? Come with me as we engage some of the voters to understand exactly what will inform their vote on December 7th. To you, what are the issues?
For me, I think we are going to vote based on our economic issues. If you could remember, during 2016, they campaigned about the economic issues. So it's the same thing we are going to what to vote against them out. Because now we are buying Kente for here at Circle, 7 cities. It's too much. Even Circle here, you can't get even common fish, 10 cities, unless you have 20 Ghana and above. And now, the economy, everything is hard. When we come to work, you see the guys, you will be roaming about. You don't get even any better thing. Meanwhile, we have kids and wife at home. You have to pay school fees and other stuff. So we feel for this election, they're too very tough. But we know who we vote for. I don't think that this very government, they will stay in power for this time around. We are changing them.
Looking at the situation in the country at the moment, I will be looking at my pocket. What I will take to eat today, tomorrow, or this afternoon, this morning, or the next evening. You understand? You talking about me, I have stopped school for since 1997 to date. I will not be talking about free senior high school issue. I will not be talking about free education. I will be talking about what will be in my pocket for me to feed my children. So that is what it will inform me to vote. Okay. And at the moment as we speak, the system is hot, totally hot. Nobody can get three square meal a day to eat. It's not even 3 square, it's 3 triangles. It's not 3 square. Nobody can get it to eat at the moment. So I look at my pocket once I can vote.
But some will also argue that you probably have kids and your kids are benefiting from the free SHS. Yes. So that is also an angle you should look at.
Of course, when they talk about that free senior high school issue we have been talking about, I cannot say it's fully free senior high school. Or if it's fully free, what have you, what's the name of it again? I cannot be saying that one. Because why? We pay the exams fee, we pay this chair, exams fee and everything we have to pay. So you talking about only the free for this, what is the name?
Free SHS?
For HSS cannot help the situation.
Okay, so for you, it's about the economy.
It's about the economy.
You're going to look into your pocket. That will inform your vote. Okay, stay with me whilst I go to my brother. What are the issues for you that will inform your vote on December 7th?
Thank you very much. And as you can listen to my brother, that's what you are facing in the system. Everything hard, no money. You understand me? Whilst maybe we are having the free SHS, previously when the free SHS wasn't there, we normally afford to pay our children's school fees and stuff. But without money in the system, nothing is going on. You understand me? Nothing is going on. So we are just looking now about the economy, how the system goes to.
And what do you make of the economy now?
And the economy is very bad, as you can see. We are all in the system. And we all know what is going on. You understand me? So we are going to vote based on the economy and the system. That's it.
Okay. So we are also looking at issues of the environment. 6 years ago, 8 years ago, how was it and how is it now? Would that also inform your vote?
Previous was far better. Previous, I think Mahama's time was far better than this era.
I'm not sure we're going to maintain Henry Kwarteng again. Looking at how he has managed our sanitation, that one alone can tell you that we are not supposed to maintain Henry Kwarteng.
So you think Henry Kwarteng has failed in the area of sanitation?
Of course, he has failed. Looking at what happened previously, like your mama era, what was happening, how they dredged the Odawna bridge, how your mama brother used to come and dredge the bridge for free. You understand? This time around, you can't see that.
What I'm looking at to vote this term is the economy. I've been here for more than 15 years, no, 20 years, and I have realized the bad one, the good one, and the ugly. And I must say that this current one is the ugly one. because the problem that we are facing is too much. You come to town and you cannot even raise 100 cedis in a month or in a week, which is of course very bad. Again, you go home, your electricity is high. Every 5 days I have to buy electricity, 50 Ghana cedis. I'm a family of 4. I only have fridge and TV, and it's too bad. One, when it comes to security, for here I cannot say much because we have an MP who has been an interior minister for over 12 years. Our street lights are not working, starting from Odawna to Pig Farm. Sometimes if you don't take care, before you realize you've used your car to hit somebody, and people do that and run away. Our security system here is bad, especially when it comes to what? The street light. It's not working. Now, let me talk about the economy. When our vice president was then in opposition, he was saying that somebody was incompetent. At that time, the dollar was 4 point something. Kente was 1 cedi, 50 pesos. Today, Kente is 7 cedis. It's 7 cedis, 10 cedis. Where I used to use 7 cedis to buy food, today when I go there, I have to use 30 Ghana cedis. And at that time too, he was saying that that man was incompetent. Today, that same man that we are touting today as a digital man, he never built a digital center nor a data center. But people are channeling, praising him. Meanwhile, he has run away from his responsibilities. He is an economist. We are asking him today, dollar is 17 point something. Yesterday, I went to a shop that I used to buy a thing of a phone screen for 70 Ghana cedis. Today is 150 cedis. The man called to buy a dollar and he was scratching his face with a big shout, and I think something is wrong with the man. What is it? It's just because of the dollar. Somebody should prompt our vice president that we did not vote for him for what? Digitalization. We did not vote for him for digitalization and app shortcutting. Apps can't do anything for us. For now, what we need is food on the table. For what now? What we need is money in our pocket. As maybe some time ago Kufuor said, money that when we go home and our children see us. Today, when I go home, my children were coming to me. I normally push them off because I have nothing to make them happy. What is this? Because we are having a bad economy. From 4 to what? 17 point something cedis. Why? And you are there touting yourself digital man. A father who runs away from his responsibility is a bad father. We are telling our vice that he is running away from his responsibility. And I beg those following him, they should tell him he should go and make sure that he will put measures down for the dollar to come down for us to have. We don't need anything from a politician. I always say that a good government policies bring money into my pocket because I'm a private man. I do my own thing. But if I come to town and the government policies is draining my money, what do? Electricity, data. Today we can't buy data.
So these are the issues that will inform your vote on December 7th.
Yeah, for now, as you can see, the economy is very bad. It's very, very, very bad. Everybody is crying. Everybody, even the rich people, they are complaining. Now you can't buy anything the way you want it. When you went in a shop, what you want to buy, you can't buy it. Because what you are supposed to get before, you won't get it like that again. So everything is very bad.
So here at Tiptoe Lane, there are a number of small-scale tabletop businesses. We also want to find out from them the key issues that will inform their vote on December 7th. So give us your name and tell us the issues that will inform your vote on December 7th.
Please, my name is Philemon Kwansa. I'm a repairer.
December 7th is just some few days away. What are the issues that will determine where your vote would go?
As for me, I won't vote. Simply because I don't know the essence of going to vote. Our elders is not helping us at all. If you vote for them, they just think about themselves alone. They don't think about the civilians. They'll do the things that will benefit only them, not their citizens. I don't know the essence of going to vote for either NDC or MPP. I'll just sleep and eat, and that's all. I won't vote. That's my opinion. I won't vote.
What are some of the challenges you are currently facing, for which reason you don't want to vote? Tell us. Share some of those challenges with us.
The way they are managing things is not good at all. Look at how dollar is running, how they increase petrols. It's like there's mismanagement in this country. So it's not necessary for me to vote. I would rather sleep at that day. That's all.
All right. So these issues you've enumerated, what do you want to see changed before you vote?
Okay. If they can stabilize things, like stabilize the dollars, reducing petrol and the way the things is going up, if they can stabilize it, fine, you can manage and vote for either NDC or MPP. But if the things is going like this way, they are, nothing can change my mind to vote for anyone.
Now, away from the street, what are the concerns of market women also here in the Malam Atta market? What are the issues that's going to inform their vote on December 7th?
The issue about the school and the lights. The light too, they said they have brought another new this thing, and it's running fast. So this year for the election, we want us to change the bill for us so that it's too expensive. And if you buy the prepaid, within second it will finish. And the school too, they say it's free education, and now we cannot see the free education. The fees we are paying is more than the free education. So that one too, they should look at it for us. They say they are doing new streets for us, but we cannot see. They have bring the small blocks, the codes, but they haven't finished yet. But we are seeing that they will bring another one, so that if it's need for us, we will vote for the MP.
This year election for me is, I want everything to be peace for us, especially in our market, because over here the politics is too much, and a lot of problem is over here. And secondly, to how we shall move to everything so that everything will be settled for us without any disturbance in the market. That is what is worrying me. And me particular, I need peace in Malata market. The education. Now, my granddaughter has passed. Yesterday, I went to where we are going to make a replacement this thing. It wasn't small thing. It's a talk of a lot of people are over there. Round about by 12 o'clock, they said they have closed. We should all go. We should go. Why? So then I told my daughter that, hey, small girl, let's move ahead. Let's go, so that we shall come on Monday. So education is what is worrying me particular.
What do you want done about education?
I want them to do that free essay. Me particular, I don't like it because it's more than we pay the school fees. It's more than we pay the school fees because bring this thing. If you make the total, it's higher than free education.
Oh, okay.
Mami sorry kwasa na kufu adu di na me bo ma sorry answer. Said na nado aban baye. Said the papa yi hwe na tadwo mu akra keke. Na tadwo bi ba enso to a obi ntimi ma. Se hwe na tadwo mu. Na said what say your free education. Me anya bi. Aso me sister mam wanya bi. Me anu hu free education any light any nsuo pe timetro ma MPP aban.
Kote, I wouldn't say because I'm an NDC, he hasn't done something. He's done a great job in Ayawaso Central. But looking at this market, you wouldn't come and just do this while the main entrance to the market, go check the main entrance. You can't do this and say you've done something. You see, look at this. We all do some etitia. The chair and over. But when you go and say no big general catch them say oh my jumanti I'm the way break it.
So I have been joined by Bismarck Boateng, who is the constituency chairman for the NPP here in the Ayawaso Central constituency to respond to some of the concerns being raised by voters. So some voters in this constituency are saying that you have not done enough. What do you have to say to them?
By the grace of God, Ayawaso Central, if you talk of a constituency that has benefited from the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, Ayawaso Central, our roads, about 85% of our roads is asphalt now. 85% of our roads within is asphalting. We have AstroTurf. That's one of the biggest AstroTurf in Greater Accra. Alajo. As we speak now, we are constructing another AstroTurf for Alajo North. We have a Panaman 12-unit classroom block, a school at Panaman. It's ongoing. As we speak now, if you go to Alajo 1 and 2, 12-unit classroom block is being constructed now. It's ongoing. Recently, I think 3 weeks or a month ago, our honorable member of parliament, who doesn't choose a person from his political party before doing a favor to, decided to call all the drivers within the constituency, all those who are driving trotro and taxis, commercial drivers, and then he renewed their driver's license to them. and he gave them fuel coupon. And after, he makes sure that they got a token.
Okay, so these are some of the achievements, but some of the constituents are saying that your MP or your candidate has failed on the issue of sanitation and security. How do you respond to that?
In terms of security, our MP has done the best. One of the days that Ayawaso Central, when you are even walking in the night or even daytime, you cannot even walk around Malamata. You cannot walk in a certain place around Alajo. But now, even 10 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 a.m., you can confidently walk within any enclaves within Ayawaso Central. So if you talk of security, Ayawaso Central is no-go area.
Let's talk about sanitation then.
Sanitation is our honorable member who introduced Let's Make Accra Work. That's Operation Clean Your Frontage. Somebody who has such a great idea of how to keep...
But is that idea working on the ground?
It's working. It's working. You know, you cannot get it 100%. But if you look at our constituency, here where we stand, you can go around and check. There's sanitation.
Your own assessment, what percentage are you?
We have a sanitation problem within Ayawaso Central.
Really?
I can give about 80%. Yes. Since we are human, we cannot get 100%. And if somebody is marked 80%, that means the person is getting A. Yes. So sanitation aspect, we can give ourselves 80%.
So overall performance of your MP, how would you grade him?
The youth in this constituency, they have benefited a lot from the MP. So in terms of job creation, I can give my MP 92%. In terms of welfare, I can give my MP 90%.
Give us specific plans, 5 of them, that you have for the Ayawaso Central constituency for the next 4 years.
Wealth creation, 1. Supporting the market women in Malata, supporting the artisans. Education unit. We will make sure that the youth who have passed through their senior secondary school and are going to university, the Honorable has planned for them to make sure that they will secure either a scholarship or a benefit from his own office to secure them, get their degree, and then get it running and get it done.
Those are the plans. What do you make of the MPP's candidates' chances in this election?
I will give my MP 60%. Because I know the good work that he has done. If you go around, when you start doing house-to-house campaign, you realize people are appreciating the good work that Honorable and
So you are projecting that your MP is going to win 60% of the vote. Now, what do you make of the chances of your opponent, the NDC candidate?
Ayawaso that I know, the confidence that they have in MPP. It's not like MPP is our stronghold, but because we always deliver, because we always give them what they want, there's no way NDC will even get 40%.
You are sure about that?
100%.
I'm surprised he's telling you that I can't get 40% of the vote. The first time I came, I contested as a candidate. I put almost 46%. That's the first time I contested. So if somebody's telling you that when I was not popular, I was able to get 46%. Now that I've become more popular and well known in the constituency, I can't get 40%. That is one issue. When 7th December, we are going to Central House is going to choose between competence, somebody who cares for the constituency, and somebody who is a vacant MP, who doesn't stay in the constituency, who doesn't do anything in the constituency. He waits 3 months to election, then he runs and comes to the constituency and pretend like he's doing something. I'm not worried about him. Look,
you mean the current MP? Yes, you describe him as a vacant MP?
Yes. I'm not worried about. Let me tell you, he hasn't got credibility. Look, he came and made a lot of promises in the 2020 election. Go to the Alajo main gutter. He came and ran his mouth that he was going to fix it. He has been a cabinet minister. He has not been able to fix it. You go to the Kwame Nkrumah school. He broke it down in 2019 in haste, trying to make people feel that he's going to do something because he was afraid of me. And he broke it down. Up to that, the place is still standstill. Kids don't have classrooms to learn. We are now ready for the 2024 election. I want to assure Central Ayawaso residents, look, for those of you who are in Alajo and you are still struggling with flooding, if you go to even the inner parts of Alajo, when they bath kids, they have to carry the water all the way from their various houses to the gutters to dispose of the water. I'm telling you that I am coming to help us solve that problem. For those of you whose kids have been kicked out of the Kwame Nkrumah school, that now they don't have shelter to learn, we'll come and work hard to, put up that structure for you to, benefit from it. You see this school here right now. Just look at the back here. This was built by under John Mahama. That is the K2. You go down, that's K3. It was built by John Mahama. You move down here. The K10 and 11 was built by John Mahama. They have built structure that they are enjoying now. It was built by John Mahama. The main road from Circle to Alajo, it was rehabilitated by John Mahama. From Kotobabi to Alajo, it was done by John Mahama. And people should tell us what they have put up here.
In the Ayawaso Central Constituency, what are your specific plans for the next 4 years if you are given the mandate?
Yes, I talked about jobs, which is the killer issue here. And I'm going to draw that from the national. So obviously, I can't come and create jobs on my own here. I need to get a platform to be able to do that. And I'm giving you where we are going to get that platform from. And I talked about the 24-hour economy. Look, one of the biggest issues are the drainage systems here. Trust me, when I come, I'm going to work with the municipal to ensure that we get funding to, save most of those who live by the gutters. If you go to some of the projects we've done in the constituency, look, we've fixed a lot of the bridges on my own. If you go to the new town market, I built it on my own funding. When he heard that we've done that, he's all over the place. He's rushing. He went to Malata. He couldn't get what he wanted to do.
So what margins are you looking at?
Look, if we were to vote based on credibility, integrity, I don't think Henry will get 30%. Seriously, I don't think you get 80%. But I'm trying to be as sincere as possible. I'm sure this election, if everything goes on well as we plan, I don't think I'll get less than 60%.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade the MP's performance?
Sincerely, let me say, I would put him on the scale like he's just an MP in name. He's just the standard MP.
So no figure at all?
No. He's just a standard MP. He's not impressive.
What is his performance on the scale of 1 to 10?
This gentleman, I don't think he has done up to 4%. 4 out of 10.
What is your word to the Honorable Henry Kwarte with just weeks to the election? What is your word to him?
Trust me, look, we are well prepared for them. 7 December, I'm going to be declared the victor. And John Mahama will also be declared the next president of this country. There's nothing he can do. He can be the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and the
Interior Minister.
Trust me, you are going to whip him.
You are not scared at all the fact that your opponent is the Interior Minister?
We are going to whip him.
What is your message to the NDC then in the Ayawaso Central Constituency?
They should watch out and should stand for assembly election.
Oh, you mean the MPP candidate should stand for assembly election?
Yes, Ralph should stand for assembly election first. Because his cousin Chamai stood for assembly election for I think 2 or 3 times. So if Ralph wants to be an MP in this constituency, he should follow the footsteps of his Chamai.
Well, constituents of the Ayawaso Central Constituency have spoken. They want issues of sanitation, electricity bills, security, among others, addressed by the political class. While indeed the NDC and the MPP have also outlined how they intend to address these concerns. But the big question is, will this proposed solution from the two parties influence voter decision here in the Ayawaso Central Constituency? Well, that's a decision for you, the voters, to make here in the Ayawaso Central Constituency. My name, as always, is Carlos Kaloni.
And that's our show for today and for the week. Thank you so much for joining us. Benjamin is about to shout out who gave him this beautiful...
this has been around for a while.
Oh, okay, right.
Saraban clothing, yes.
Yeah.
She did this for me, together with my other outfits. So thanks to her. But Carlos Kaloni, right?
Carlos Kaloni.
His name always gives me a ring of something. I tease him. No, I can't.
Hey,
I will not say that.
But folks, thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that a week from now, you should join us or tell a friend to join us at AMA Auditorium for Girl Get Up Seminar 3.0. Many thanks, and we'll see you on Monday. But do stay for Faustina Safo. She's serving you News Desk. Have a great Friday. Mwah.